Chapter 600. In China, there is an old saying, if you don't shock people, don't stop until you say it. Mr. Yang said slowly, although my words are shocking, they are not fake at all. I am indeed guilty, and my sin is very serious. But I'm really sorry. My crime is not being against humanity, but having superpowers. What happened 20 years ago, no one knows, so you can say whatever you want. The young prosecutor suddenly came to his senses, pointed at Mr. Yang, and said loudly, "You made up these things to confuse the public?" "I'm sorry, I don't need to." Mr. Yang stood on the bench, his voice calm. "I, Yang, have never killed an innocent person. There are many innocent mutants. They have never done anything bad, but you did not let them go." The prosecutor wiped his cold sweat and then said, "Well done, my dear attorney, and the honorable jury, and the impartial judge." Mr. Yang said slowly, "I just want to ask you one thing. If a powerful and mighty wild tiger lived in your house every day, would you feel safe?" Everyone looked at each other. "Those mutants, they are the tigers that live beside us. Don't you understand? These people have a power that we cannot control. If they want to kill us, we have no ability to fight back." "Are you defending yourself for killing innocent people? If you are a hunter, you walk on the grassland, and you see a tiger walking towards you, what would you do?" Mr. Yang asked. "Would you go up and make friends with him, or would you shoot him to death?" The prosecutor began to panic. He did not expect Mr. Yang to be so eloquent. Moreover, a lot of the people in the jury seemed to have begun to agree with Mr. Yang. "He is sophistry." Li Fan lowered his voice and said to Susu, "We are not hunters, and the mutants are not tigers. He is using sophistry to make us follow his train of thought." I just almost agreed with him. Susu was a little more clear-headed after hearing what Li Fan said. "So, not only should you not judge me, but you should thank me." Mr. Yang continued, "I saved you. Now it's your turn to save yourselves." His voice rose an octave. "You should pass a bill to judge mutants and imprison all mutants. If you don't want to kill them, then take away their freedom until you can eliminate the mutated genes in their bodies." Everyone was stunned when they heard the bill. Some even began to nod slowly. Mutants possess supernatural powers. Indulging them is equivalent to murdering yourselves. I am a sinner. I accept any judgment, but it's time for you to save yourselves. Go find every mutant around you. Capture them and kill them. Otherwise, you'll be the ones to die. All the people in the court were in an uproar. Silence. The judge finally hit the gavel in his hand, and the court slowly quieted down. "No matter how you quibble, your sins are unforgivable." The judge said to Mr. Yang, "Let the jury convict you. As a judge, I don't want to hear any more from you." The judge himself felt that if he had heard more, he might have changed his mind. This was too scary. "I am guilty, and I am willing to die here." Mr. Yang interrupted the judge. "But before I die, I have one more thing to do." "What is it?" The judge was puzzled, but Mr. Yang smiled. "It's to let you know how scary mutants are." As he spoke, he pointed at his temple. "My superpower is synesthesia. I can share my memory with others. At the same time, I can also use my thoughts to control a person whose memory I have shared." Li Fan was stunned. Susu and Bai Linluo looked at him subconsciously. "Now, I am using my superpower to murder you." Then, Mr. Yang pointed to Li Fan. "Brotherly, please be my puppet for a while." While speaking, Li Fan could no longer control his body. He jumped to Mr. Yang's side. "Get out of my way!" Li Fan shouted at the jury in front of him. Before the jurors could react, Li Fan had already raised his hand and slapped. Bang! More than half of the jurors were smashed into pieces by Li Fan's slap. The rest of the people screamed and ran away in panic. "Damn it! Do you think that we, the Knights of Holy Light, don't exist?" Carlos of the Knights of Holy Light roared. He held a golden-laid greatsword in one hand and a shield in the other as he pounced toward Mr. Yang. The other Knights of Holy Light around him also pulled out their swords and charged toward Mr. Yang. But Mr. Yang was smiling and did not move. Li Fan stood there, turned his body, and kicked out a gust of wind. The Knights of Holy Light were swept away one after another, and Carlos was slapped on the shield by Li Fan. His entire body flew backward and fell to the side. Damn it, then I'll kill you first. Carlos did not take Li Fan seriously at all. He pointed at Li Fan with his long sword. Knights of Holy Light, listen up. Kill Li Fan. Yes. The surrounding Knights of Holy Light adjusted their formation again. Everyone aimed their long swords at Li Fan and charged toward Li Fan together. They all had noble bloodlines and were the noblest knights. Carlos believed that as long as they were here, killing this bunch of Chinese monkeys would be a piece of cake. But he miscalculated. Li Fan slapped the ground, and the floor began to tremble, causing the surrounding knights to lose their footing. And at this moment, Li Fan's body seemed to bring out a black afterimage. He wandered among these knights, and every time he punched them in the chest, shattering their armor and hearts at the same time. Although these knights were also very powerful, none of them were a match for Li Fan. No, it's impossible. Carlos was shocked. He pointed his long sword at Li Fan and roared, "You actually committed such a crime. I'm going to execute you." He. This is the power of a mutant. Mr. Yang still stood there calmly, as if the massacre in front of him was just a movie. This is the price of underestimating a mutant. Now that you know the price, you won't make the same mistake again. Enough. Stop. Li Fan berated. I will not be anyone's puppet. Chapter 601. It's not my intention to force Brother Li. Mr. Yang stood on the judge's seat without any expression on his face, as if his heart was as still as water. However, in order to save these people, some sacrifices are inevitable. Senior Big Dipper, Brother Flying Dragon, stop me. Li Fan ordered. By Lin Luo, protect Susu and Lu Xiaohu. Everyone received the order and immediately acted. Liao Qianqian, who was always by Lin Luo's side, immediately pulled out her sword and protected Lu Xiaohu and Susu, while Big Dipper and Flying Dragon did not hesitate. After receiving the order, they immediately attacked Li Fan. Big Dipper was a long-range cannon, while Flying Dragon was a strategic weapon. Their strategy was simple. Flying Dragon jumped forward and displayed his exquisite leg technique to fight against Li Fan, while Big Dipper stood behind and used Big Dipper fist technique to support. When the two of them cooperated, it was like adding wings to a tiger. Ordinary experts could only obediently admit defeat. Flying Dragon's leg technique was indeed powerful. His kicks were as swift and violent as a whip. Li Fan used Crane Hand to slap away Flying Dragon's leg time and time again. Moreover, he stood in front of Flying Dragon, using Flying Dragon's body to block Big Dipper's line of sight. Big Dipper stood there and watched the two of them fight. He did not even have the chance to punch. Big Dipper, attack Mr. Yang. Li Fan immediately ordered. Yes. Big Dipper did not hesitate and immediately punched Mr. Yang. Bang. Li Fan's body moved and blocked in front of Big Dipper's fist. His body was protected by an aura shield, but his shoulder still had a fist mark. Brother Li, there's something I forgot to tell you. With a smile on his face, Mr. Yang said slowly, if I die while I'm controlling you, I'll be able to kill you. Then, my mind will always be on your body. In other words, I will live on your behalf. Li Fan frowned. Although he did not know if what Mr. Yang said was true or not, the threat was not weak. Things like superpowers were really hard to say. They were originally a type of mental power. If Mr. Yang died, and his spiritual power continued to affect me, it would be terrible. What you're doing won't do you any good. Li Fan endured the pain in his shoulder and said with a frown, No, I am a martyr. Mr. Yang's eyes were calm. I will use my death to draw a real warning line for humanity. As Mr. Yang spoke, his eyes fell on the chairman of the Joint Military Commission. How dare you? Carlos noticed Mr. Yang's gaze. He immediately picked up his sword and shield and stood in front of the president. The chairman of the Joint Military Commission was the highest-ranking officer of the Joint Military Commission. He was sitting here today to judge Mr. Yang. Protect the chairman of the Military Council. Li Fan also noticed Mr. Yang's thoughts. 7-Star and Fei Long immediately retreated to the old man's side to protect him. You've angered me. Carlos threw the shield to the side and held his golden-laid sword with both hands. Suddenly, his body emitted a white aura. Li Fan's heart trembled. Sure enough, this aura is coming? Carlos' do chi wrapped around his body, increasing his fighting strength by a lot. Li Fan was also an expert and could roughly see the mystery of this aura. This aura and true energy had the same effect, but true energy was hidden in the dantian and circulated in the meridians. It was released from within and took the reserved route. As for this aura, it was cultivated from the flesh and was usually hidden in the muscles. When needed, it would be released from the muscles and covered one's body, greatly strengthening one's physical strength. Two kinds of power, although one was reserved, the other was released. One strengthened the 5 internal organs, the other molded the flesh, but in a certain aspect, they had the same effect. For example, the people of the Yin Jing 11 cavalry learned qi condensation, which was to condense true energy on the body, which could also strengthen the flesh. Therefore, the two kinds of martial arts reached the same goal by different means. Carlos swung his hand, and his battle aura and sword aura were sandwiched together, quickly sweeping toward Li Fan. However, Li Fan didn't even use his hero's sword. He directly swept his leg and kicked out with a half-moon wave, breaking Carlos's battle aura. What Mr. Yang controlled was his own thoughts. He even knew the secrets of each of his moves. Li Fan's heart sank. This Mr. Yang's control over him could be said to be terrifying. If he were to discover the secret of the Star Luo power, then it would be really bad. Once the Star Luo power was activated, those who were below the peak of perfection would probably die. Li Fan felt bitter in his heart, and Carlos's heart was also not feeling good. As the dignified leader of the Knights of Holy Light, he carried a body of honor, but today, he actually couldn't take down a Chinese monkey. He didn't know what martial arts this Chinese monkey had learned to actually be able to compete with his battle aura. Carlos waved his big sword and threw out 5 waves of battle aura in a row, sweeping toward Li Fan one after another. As for Li Fan, he just stood there. He even crossed his arms, only using his legs to kick to break Carlos's battle aura. Impossible. Carlos was shocked in his heart. This Chinese monkey had actually broken his battle aura again and again. Low-level monkey, eat my holy sword. Carlos suddenly jumped up high. He raised the golden-laid sword in his hand high, and battle aura condensed on his sword, making his sword shine like a dazzling little sun. Even Li Fan closed his eyes from the piercing light. However, Li Fan had already spread out his true energy in an instant. From the fluctuations of his true energy, he could feel that Carlos's holy sword was already 3 centimeters away from his head. Li Fan suddenly took a horse stance and directly used Beating Tiger. It hit Carlos's chest. Bam! Carlos's body flew out. The armor on his chest was completely shattered, revealing the cloth underneath. You might not believe me when I say it. Mr. Yang looked at Carlos, who was lying on the ground, and said with a smile, "This little brother that I control is the strongest today." He glanced at the chairman of the Joint Military Committee. "I'll use your life to put an end to this operation." Mr. Yang gave an order to Li Fan. Without the slightest hesitation, Li Fan directly raised his leg and walked toward the chairman of the Joint Military Committee. Although the chairman of the Joint Military Committee was also a big shot, he was so scared that his forehead was covered in cold sweat. Captain Carlos. Quickly save me." Carlos's injuries were not light. Supporting himself with his sword, he barely managed to get up. However, Li Fan had already walked in front of him. He bent down and punched his head, knocking him to the ground. 7 Star and Fei Long looked at each other, and the two of them made their move. Chapter 602. Fei Long's kick brought out a whirlwind, while Big Dipper used Shadowless Big Dipper Fist. Both of them were great experts. When they fought with Li Fan previously, they made Li Fan look very miserable. But Li Fan was completely prepared at this moment. He had seen the moves of both of them and had already digested them thoroughly. Now, Big Dipper and Fei Long were not a threat to Li Fan. Especially Li Fan, who was under Mr. Yang's control, did not have the slightest hesitation or mercy. Li Fan used Striking Tiger through the air and instantly sent Big Dipper, who had not yet punched, flying. At the same time, he used Subdue Bear and placed his palm on Fei Long's calf. Immediately, he used a shoulder throw and smashed Fei Long to the ground. Two great experts were defeated by Li Fan in a single move. These two people did not have any temper at all. Who asked the one who beat them up was the head escort. While Carlos's body erupted with battle energy and stood up again, the armor on his body was shattered by his battle energy and scattered on the ground. At the same time, he held the large golden sword with both hands and pointed it at Li Fan. For my glory, today, you must die here. Stop messing around, brother. You can't beat me, Li Fan said. Quickly get out of the way. I don't know when I will kill you. Enough. Don't insult me. My anger is enough to devour you. Are you joking? Quickly get out of the way. I can't control myself. As Li Fan spoke, he had already raised his palm and used Ursa Major Seal to slap Carlos's head. A palm print appeared on Carlos's forehead, but he actually used his forehead to block it. No, he did not rely on his forehead, but on his battle energy. This kind of battle energy seemed to be more useful in defense. Battle energy? Mr. Young obviously knew this move. He crossed his arms and looked at Carlos. But you can't stop brotherly. You are just a pitiful martyr. Nonsense. I am the honorable leader of the Holy Light Knights. You lowly people will become a part of my glorious achievements. As the Knight of Carlos spoke, he took a step forward with boundless glory. His greatsword glowed with holy light as it slashed down heavily towards Li Fan. However, Li Fan suddenly took a step forward and rushed into Carlos' arms, dodging his sword. At the same time, he elbowed Carlos back and hit him hard in the chest. Bang! Carlos finally spat out a mouthful of blood. Even his battle energy could not withstand Li Fan's sudden attack. When Carlos attacks, his defense must be the weakest. Especially in a position like the heart, it was even more fatal. Carlos felt his vision darken, and it became difficult for him to breathe. Until the moment before he fainted, he still couldn't quite believe it. He was the leader of the Knights of Holy Light. How could he lose to a skinny, dirty Chinese monkey? Li Fan raised his leg and kicked Carlos again. Carlos's body flew out and smashed into the wall beside him, falling outside the building. As for whether he was dead or alive, Li Fan had no way of knowing. The chairman of the military committee looked at Li Fan with a pale face. Young man, don't be impulsive. Go and tell him that. Li Fan threw an uppercut and hit the chairman of the military committee's chin. What kind of strength did he have? The strength of 5 dragons. The head of the chairman of the military committee was directly smashed into meat paste and exploded like a watermelon. Oh my God! Susu let out a groan. This time, things were really getting out of hand. Save me. I don't want to die. God, save me. The survivors of the jury all cried and howled. Li Fan's gaze fell on them. Enough. Susu shouted. Li Fan, quickly pull yourself together. Don't let that demon use your body to do whatever he wants. You think I want it? Li Fan was also very depressed. I really can't control myself. Susu, use your ultimate skill on Mr. Yang. I've already used it. No. Susu was also about to cry. Sorry, I've already castrated myself, Mr. Yang said with a smile. Otherwise, I wouldn't have the confidence to deal with a mutant like Miss Susu. Fuck. These damn zealots. Li Fan really wanted to curse. A mutant like Miss Susu should be eliminated as soon as possible. Mr. Yang gave the order. Li Fan walked towards Susu step by step. Yang Kai, hurry up and stop. Sorry, I'm the one in charge now. Mr. Yang gave the order. Li Fan suddenly slapped Susu with his palm. Dang. Wang Xiaoyuan held her shield and blocked in front of Li Fan. Wang Xiaoyuan's shield was smashed into scrap iron, and her upper body was also smashed by Li Fan's palm. Wang Xiaoyuan, who was only grade B, had the strength of a master who had reached perfection. She was not a match for Li Fan at all. Susu's legs softened. Looking at Li Fan approaching, she knelt on the ground. But at the same time when Li Fan smashed Wang Xiaoyuan's shield, Bai Linluo appeared behind Li Fan and stabbed her sword into Li Fan's calf. Li Fan's calf shook a bit. He turned around and punched Liao Qianqian's body like a cannonball, smashing a wall and flying out. Li Fan's fighting strength was not something that the people in this room could resist. Li Fan. Susu looked at Li Fan in despair. She knew that her death was coming. If she had known earlier, she would have listened to Li Fan and killed Mr. Yang earlier. That way, today's events would not have happened. It was too late for Susu to regret, but time could not be rewound. After all, reality was not a game. There were no saved files that could be read. Li Fan raised his palm slowly. Susu closed her eyes, hoping that death would not be too painful. But Li Fan stopped his right hand and forcefully stopped his palm. What? Mr. Yang was surprised. Li Fan actually regained control of his body? Impossible. His mind control was clearly still there. Yang Kai, I'm sorry. The farce is over. Li Fan slowly turned around and looked at Yang Kai while clenching his fists. Now it's my turn. Impossible. How did you get out of control? Your psychic energy is indeed still controlling my body, Li Fan said slowly, but I found that my mind can still control true qi. You used your true qi to control your own body? With Mr. Yang's intelligence, he immediately understood. You guessed right. It was easy to say, but Li Fan had spent a lot of effort. You deserve to die. It's over. Mr. Yang opened his arms with a smile on his face, as if he was welcoming the new sunrise. Come, I'm ready. Chapter 603. Mr. Yang opened his arms, waiting to welcome his death. Don't kill him. Susu had already come to her senses, but she stopped Li Fan. Even now, you still want him to go through a public trial? Li Fan looked at Susu in confusion. This person is a demon. As long as he is alive, there will be more innocent people dying for him. No, he does deserve to die. But if you kill him, you will be fulfilling his wish. Susu said, today, he has already used you to kill so many people. He has already made the word mutant a tiger turn pale. If you kill him, his wish will be perfectly fulfilled. Moreover, all of these crimes will be borne by you, Li Fan. Susu continued to persuade Li Fan, don't kill him. Your hands have already been stained with too much blood today. Li Fan slowly pulled out his hero's sword. I'm sorry, Susu. This person must die today. Mr. Yang was too smart and too scary. Leaving him alive for another day, Li Fan felt that the longer he stayed, the more dreams he would have. Mr. Yang had already used himself to create a storm of death in the magistrate's court. Now, it was time for him to take responsibility. Although Li Fan felt that Mr. Yang alone could not bear so many lives, Li Fan, Susu knew that she couldn't persuade Li Fan, so she could only kneel there, her face pale. The moment Li Fan let go, the hero's sword immediately flew to Mr. Yang's head, hovering above his head. Brother Li, you see, in the end, I still won. Mr. Yang revealed a victorious smile. Yes, go to hell in peace. Li Fan pointed his finger downwards. Slaying God. The hero's sword burst out with lightning, striking Mr. Yang's body. Just a moment ago, Kai Yang, who was the most intelligent person, turned into a pile of ashes. The hero's sword spun in the air and returned to Li Fan's back into its sheath. Blood and minced meat were everywhere in the Hall of Trials. It was like hell on earth. All the plans to save Mr. Yang had failed, and he himself had made a beautiful exit, turning the judgment hall into a hell of despair. Li Fan killed Mr. Yang, but his mood was not relaxed at all. Mr. Yang was right. This time, he won. However, with the death of Mr. Yang, Li Fan's spirit once again gained control of the body. The door of the court was broken open, and more knights of the Holy Light and soldiers rushed into the court, aiming their guns at Li Fan. Li Fan, you helped Kai Yang kill so many innocent people. You even killed the chief judge and the chairman of the Joint Military Committee. A temporary supreme officer walked out, wearing a military uniform, and said loudly, you have committed a heinous crime, and you are now under arrest for crimes against humanity. Surrender immediately. Wait, you are mistaken. Susu immediately shouted. It was Kai Yang who used his superpower to control Li Fan. Li Fan did not have the ability to move on his own just now, so the crime you have given him is not valid. Li Fan shouted at Bai Lin Luo and the others to retreat. Then he stepped forward, swallowed a yuan restoring pill, and started a fight to the death with these Knights of Holy Light. It was said to be a fight to the death because Li Fan did not show any mercy. These people were here to kill him. There was no need for him to let them live. Li Fan slapped each Knight of Holy Light, and all the Knights of Holy Light that were hit by him were smashed into pieces. No matter how sturdy the armor of the Knights of Holy Light was, or how powerful their chi was, they were not a match for Li Fan. In front of Li Fan, they were like paper. Seeing the 9th Knight of Holy Light having his upper body smashed by Li Fan, the temporary chairman of the military committee was finally moved. Li Fan, do you know what you are doing? I know. I am defending myself, Li Fan said without hesitation. The Joint Military Committee wants to kill me with groundless charges. I will not let myself be trampled on. With that, he pulled out the hero's sword and separated his hands at the hero's sword. 7 sword shadows appeared in front of him, and with a push, they flew out. 7-star sword. Pft, pft, pft. The Knights of Holy Light were pierced through their chests by Li Fan's sword shadows, and their internal organs were brought out. Chapter 604. Li Fan was truly a killing machine. No matter how strong the Knights of Holy Light were, they were immediately killed when they met Li Fan. Li Fan released the 7 sword shadows and sped up the massacre. In the blink of an eye, almost all the Knights of Holy Light in the Court of Justice were killed. The remaining few Knights of Holy Light did not even have the courage to hold their swords. They retreated in fear. No matter how the military committee chairman shouted at them, they ignored him. Everyone, I am a pacifist. Li Fan withdrew the 7 sword shadows and the hero's sword returned to him, floating in front of his palm. Pacifist? The military committee chairman almost spat out a mouthful of blood. He was a pacifist? Where was his face? Everyone just needs to put down the weapons in your hands and retreat obediently. I will not kill anyone. Believe me, I am a kind person. Li Fan even showed a shy smile. The military committee chairman was so angry that his hands were trembling. Li Fan, you are now in the Court of Justice. This is our territory. Even if you are a Chinese, you must accept our trial here. Surrender immediately. Do you hear me? What right do you have to order me? Li Fan crossed his arms and looked at the military committee chairman defiantly. I will not accept such an unfair trial. How impudent. Lawless. The military committee chairman roared. Don't think that you can always be so arrogant. Even if you escape from here, you will become an international fugitive. By then, even if you can survive, you will be a vagabond forever. Is that so? Li Fan glanced at Bai Lin Luo. Little Four Eyes, did you record everything just now?
Yes.
Bai Lin Luo pointed at a button camera on his chest. It's high definition. Thank you. Li Fan made an okay gesture. The military committee chairman's face turned ugly. He must execute Li Fan on the spot today. If he were to escape, things would become very ugly. But this Huaxia man was a little too powerful. Their strongest, Carlos, had been killed by him. Bastard! How could this Chinese be so strong? His appearance had disrupted all their plans. Susu, let's go. Li Fan walked out with large strides. Susu and the others followed behind him. The 4 Special Forces soldiers walked in the middle, still vigilantly looking around. At the back of the Big Dipper and the Flying Dragon Palace, there were 2 great martial arts experts guarding them. If others wanted to sneak attack them, it would be as difficult as ascending to the heavens. Stop them! Stop them! The chairman of the military council let out a hysterical cry. However, neither the soldiers nor the Knights of Holy Light dared to step forward. They were not afraid of war, but they were not willing to die in vain. Li Fan swaggered out of the trial hall with Susu and the others. No one dared to stop him. Li Fan had already displayed his strength. Who would dare to challenge him now? No matter how the chairman of the military council shouted, no one moved. What are you waiting for? Fire! Fire! The chairman of the military council pushed the soldier next to him, But the soldier shook his head vigorously and shouted in Owen English, "You are a member of the Knights of Holy Light. Where is your honor? Go, chase after them and take down that criminal." The chairman of the military council shouted at another Knight of Holy Light. The Knight of Holy Light had long been scared out of his wits. He had even dropped his sword and was in a daze. The chairman of the military council was anxious. He looked at Li Fan's back and suddenly pulled out a pistol from the holster of a soldier next to him. He aimed it at Li Fan's back. However, Li Fan only turned his head slightly and glanced at him casually. This glance seemed to be filled with endless murderous intent. The chairman of the military council felt as if a hand had grabbed his throat and squeezed it tightly. He had difficulty breathing and was nervous. He dropped his pistol. Li Fan, Susu, and the others returned to the cruise ship. When he came out, he also brought Poseidon of the Golden Empire with him. Rather than leaving it to those idiots to judge, he might as well find out some useful information himself. The few of them boarded the ship. The glass room that had previously held Mr. Yang was now holding Poseidon. "Hey bro, what did I tell you? That Mr. Yang is a traitor through and through. You believed him, and this is the result." Poseidon was still gloating over their misfortune. "Shut up." Susu was in a bad mood. "This is a free country. You can't deprive me of my right to speak." Poseidon continued to shout. Susu stretched out her hand and pinched the air. Poseidon screamed and knelt on the ground. He held his crotch and could not stand up for a long time. "Torture, torture. You are torturing a prisoner." After a long time, Poseidon finally managed to say something. "If you keep shouting, I'll kill you." Li Fan walked over and glared at Poseidon. Poseidon finally became obedient. Poseidon had personally witnessed Li Fan's strength in the judgment court. He could offend anyone but Li Fan. This guy could casually smash a person into pieces with a slap. This kind of strength was not something a small Poseidon could handle. Being obedient was the best choice. Although Poseidon liked to show off, he was not stupid. "Li Fan, this time, I've implicated you." Susu looked at Li Fan and felt a little sad. "No, I didn't do my job well." Li Fan sighed. "I don't want the remaining 1 million. Your job is done. Send Kai Yang to the court." Susu told the truth. Li Fan's job was indeed done. "The rest is out of our control. Let's go back and see what the chief has to say." Susu thought for a while and said, "But don't worry. You are innocent in this matter. We are Chinese. First, we are not bound by their laws. Second, we did not break any laws. Those people can forget about trying you. I know. Those guys are just clowns. I won't put them in my eyes." Li Fan looked at Susu and casually comforted her. "Don't worry about me. I'm fine now. It's fine as long as you are not injured." The Special Abilities Bureau seemed to be very complicated. Li Fan felt that the Special Abilities Bureau might not be able to support him when he returned to China. But it didn't matter. He, Li Fan, had always done things his own way. A small Special Abilities Bureau could not do anything to him. Li Fan did not look at principles. He only did things based on conscience. "After we go back, everyone will go their separate ways. This Poseidon is a gift I'm leaving to the Special Abilities Bureau. I'm sure you can get a lot of information about the Golden Empire from him." "Okay." Susu nodded. "Also, the way back might not be peaceful. Don't wander around. You must stay by my side." Chapter 605. After sailing on the sea for another 7 days, the cruise ship slowly approached a small island on the sea to replenish its supplies. "By Linluo and the other 2 big brothers, follow me down to replenish our food and daily necessities." Li Fan pointed at Little Four Eyes and the other 2 Special Forces soldiers and followed him down the ship. "I want to go too." Susu jumped off the ship as well, and Li Fan hurriedly chased her back. "It's very dangerous right now. Why did you come down? Hurry up and go back." "Aya, didn't you say that you want me to follow you closely?" Susu pulled Li Fan's arm and said, "That's what I did. If it wasn't for the difference between men and women, I would have slept on your bed last night." Li Fan's forehead was filled with cold sweat. This girl, she's not serious with her words. "I'm surrounded on all sides with enemies everywhere. It's not necessarily a good thing for you to follow me." There's Big Dipper and Big Brother Fei Long on the ship. With the two of them, you'll be safe. No, I'll just give you trouble. Who asked me to spend money? Susu winked at Li Fan. I'm your boss. Fuck, these tens of thousands of yuan are really not easy to earn. Li Fan couldn't help but ridicule. All right, then follow me. Don't stray too far away from me. Otherwise, if something really happens, I won't be able to save you. I know, so long-winded. You're clearly a high school student, but why are you as long-winded as an old man? It's better to be safe than sorry. Moreover, I feel that this island is a bit strange. Li Fan muttered. This island is a route that we deliberately chose after a day's journey. Bai Linluo pushed his glasses up, looked at the somewhat simple harbor and said, We're doing this to avoid the spies, but it might not be 100% effective. Yes, those people really want my life. Li Fan said, I killed Mr. Yang and the chairman of the military committee. The most important thing is, I know a secret. Secret? Susu and Bai Linluo glanced at Li Fan at the same time. After Li Fan boarded the ship, he hadn't said anything about this matter. This secret is a little too shocking, I think. Whether it's the chairman of the military committee in Geneva or the Golden Empire, they all want to know this secret. When Mr. Yang was controlling himself, he also used his special ability to pass a picture to Li Fan. What Li Fan saw was an island. Unlike the other islands, that island was covered in dark clouds all year round. Thunder and lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. In Mr. Yang's memory, Li Fan knew that this island was called Demon Island. Legend has it that there is a kind of demon-like creature on this island. They have powerful genes and are said to be able to evolve humans to become even more outstanding. However, Demon Island was hidden in an unknown place, and only Mr. Yang knew where it was. This was the secret that everyone wanted to know. They wanted to find this creature and take its genes. No matter what the purpose of this group of people was, it was definitely not a good thing. Li Fan digested this secret on his own and didn't want to tell others. However, the Golden Empire and the Joint Military Committee would definitely not give up this secret and would continue to send people to kill him. At this moment, the small island they had stopped on also gave off an unreliable feeling. Whether it was the shops or the restaurants in this port, Li Fan felt that something was wrong. Everyone's eyes were intentionally or unintentionally looking at him. Be careful. Leave immediately after buying the things. I still want to walk around the island. It's rare that the scenery here is so good and the seawater is so blue. Look, there's even diving over there. How about we go and play diving? Don't mess around. Be careful of losing your life. Li Fan reminded Susu, you are the next successor of the Special Abilities Bureau. With your playful personality, if the Special Abilities Bureau is handed over to you, it will be finished. I am still a little girl after all. Susu smiled somewhat embarrassedly. It's not easy for me to come out at public expense, right? How is this public expense? Didn't you give me 50,000? Humph. You still have the nerve to say that. Susu said angrily. You ruthless exploiter, profiteer. Haha, you will soon know how much I have taken care of you. While speaking, Li Fan led them to purchase the necessary supplies. Fortunately, there were not many people on their ship, so it was very easy to purchase supplies. Especially the 4 Special Forces soldiers, Big Dipper and Fei Long. Their lives were relatively simple, and the things they ate and used were very simple. However, Susu was a girl and needed to purchase some female products. Susu, Little Who's condition these 2 days isn't very good. You should talk to him more when you have time. Li Fan said to Susu while purchasing food. You're still talking? Isn't he scared by you? Susu said. Have you forgotten? In the judgment hall, you went on a killing spree. Let alone Little Who. Even I can't bear to see the scattered corpses on the ground. None of this is what I wanted. Li Fan sighed. I am only an ordinary high school student. Committing such a sin, do you think I want it? But this also means that I am not strong enough. If I was strong enough, Kaiyang wouldn't be able to control me, and those people wouldn't have died. I don't really understand you martial artists, but if one day you need my help, you must tell me. Is there a fee? There is no fee. Susu immediately said, I am different from you. I am not a person who values money as much as my life. We are friends. Helping each other is our duty. How can we ask for money? Don't you think so? Oh, yes, yes, yes. As long as there was no fee, Li Fan was happy. So that 25,000, I won't give it to you. We are all friends. Talking about money hurts our relationship. Li Fan was speechless. Then that 1 million. How are you going to let me take it? Damn, that is the country's money, not mine. I don't care about the country's money, but of course I care about my own money. Susu's words made Li Fan unable to refute. What she said seemed to be quite reasonable. Forget it, I don't want the 25,000. Just treat it as compensation for your shock. Last time at the judgment hall, this girl must have been scared. I didn't expect you to have a humane side. Susu was very surprised. I thought you only recognized money and not people. Nonsense. How could I be that kind of person? Boss, we bought so much. Why don't you give us a discount? Isn't that too much? Seeing Li Fan haggling with the boss like a shrew, Susu rolled her eyes. Li Fan, someone is watching us. At this time, Bai Lin Luo suddenly moved closer to Li Fan's ear and said, Chapter 606. Someone is staring at us. Bai Lin Luo hinted with his eyes, and Li Fan followed his gaze. A man was standing at the dock. He was bare-chested, chewing betel in his mouth and carrying a very long harpoon on his shoulder. A fisherman? Li Fan raised his eyebrows. How could a fisherman have such white skin? Bai Lin Luo said, He is definitely a spy. All right, got it. Li Fan immediately said, Everyone, board the boat immediately. The materials were almost all purchased. With Li Fan's order, these people did not dare to be negligent and quickly packed up their things and boarded the boat. But at this moment, a helicopter suddenly appeared in the sky. The helicopter had a large iron plate on it. With a loud bang, it threw the iron plate onto the harbor. One helicopter after another appeared in the sky and dropped metal plates one after another. These iron plates were like the iron walls of a prison. In the blink of an eye, the entire island was sealed. Right now, this place was a huge cage. Li Fan and Bai Lin Luo were trapped inside and could not escape even if they had wings. The helicopters hovering in the sky were slowly flying away. All of a sudden, all the people on the island appeared. These people were all fierce as they surrounded Li Fan and his group. Their eyes were unkind, as if they wanted to skin Li Fan alive. Everyone, it can't be that you made such a big commotion just to meet with me, right? Li Fan looked at them with a smile, but his eyes were flashing with an ominous glint. Just surrender. You can't escape anymore. A man with a scar on his face walked out and looked at Li Fan and said fiercely, Escape? You might be thinking too much. I don't want to escape at all. Li Fan stood there, letting Bai Lin Luo and 2 Special Forces soldiers protect Susu. He crossed his arms and stood at the front, looking at the ferocious thugs in front of him with a smile on his face. It was as if he was bathing in the spring breeze, as if he didn't care about these people at all. Li Fan, if you're a smart man, you'd better surrender. This way, you and your companions won't die. Ha ha ha, just kidding. Li Fan laughed heartily. If you have the ability, then come at me. If you don't, then scram. Stop whining. Then just wait for your death. Scarface seemed to be the leader of these people. With a wave of his hand, the people behind him all rushed towards Li Fan. The island was densely packed with people, and they were all Li Fan's enemies. Little Four Eyes, protect Susu. Li Fan did not hesitate, nor did he flinch. Who was he? How could he be frightened by these people? He immediately leapt up and jumped towards those people. These thugs' martial arts were not bad. Their physical strength was better than ordinary people, and their quality was also higher. But Li Fan charged into the crowd and kicked out with both legs, continuously sending out ripples, sweeping the enemies in front of him in half. No matter what kind of enemy, in front of Li Fan, they were not his match. More and more corpses piled up beside Li Fan. These enemies could only increase Li Fan's merit. The current Li Fan had already turned into a god of war. With a wave of his hand, corpses were everywhere. Idiot, don't go and die for nothing. Scarface was clearly the leader among them. Seeing his subordinates acting like idiots, rushing to their deaths, he immediately felt a bit angry. "A bunch of idiots. Let the warlock team come," Scarface scolded, and these people immediately retreated like a receding tide. Then, many people in black robes came from behind, each of them holding a black spellbook in their hands. "Warlock team." Susu's expression immediately tensed up, and she grabbed Li Fan. "Li Fan, no, not good. What's wrong?" Li Fan did not see any clues from these people in black robes. He only felt that the black spell books in their hands were emitting a strange energy. "These are the Joint Military Committee's secret forces. They are called the Warlock Team. These people themselves are not powerful, but the black books in their hands, they are sewn from the mutant's skin. They contain the mutant's super energy." "Super energy? What the hell is that?" Li Fan did not understand, but he immediately understood. These Warlock Team had a total of more than 100 people. They stood around the island, one hand holding the black books, the other hand facing Li Fan. In an instant, hundreds of crimson fireballs suddenly broke through the air and flew out from all directions. They gathered together in the air and smashed down on Li Fan and the others. "Fuck! It's a meteor shower!" Li Fan looked up at the falling fire rain. Such a big movement. Their Warlock Team was really generous. If there was only one fireball, it would not be a threat at all. But now there were more than 100 of them. This was a bit awesome. Even Li Fan felt a bit numb when facing so many fireballs. It seemed that the Warlock Team's true strength was their numbers. Great War God. Li Fan used Toad transformation, and a Great War God condensed from True Chi appeared behind him. Great War God stretched out his right hand and pinched the air. Dragon Toad absorbs water. The fireballs that fell from all directions were suddenly pulled together by the power of the Great War God Li Fan and condensed into a ball. Boom! The fireball exploded, and its power dispersed in all directions. Sparks scattered everywhere. Li Fan's Great War God was also smashed by the impact of the flames. The power it carried was too huge. Fuck! Li Fan was a bit shocked. Damn it! This is not a joke, right? More than 100 Warlock squads. This was no laughing matter. When they made a move, the power was earth-shattering and it was not weaker than a missile. It seems that the Joint Military Committee really spent a lot of money to deal with me. Li Fan could not help but sneer. They really took care of me, Li Fan. I really need to repay them, Li Fan said and threw a kick at the Warlock Team in the distance. The half-moon shockwave flew out and kicked 2 Warlocks in half. The power of this move scared the other Warlocks, not to mention destroying the fireball shot by more than 100 people. He even casually killed their people. This Chinese is so strong. Tell the Warlock Team to be careful. This Li Fan is a bit powerful. Scarface reminded the Warlock Team. You guys must keep moving. Long snake tactic. Scarface gave the order, and these people immediately moved. Like a long snake, they started to circle around Li Fan. When these people moved, Li Fan had a headache. This way, the accuracy of the attack that he renamed Crescent Kick was greatly reduced. Different from Rushing Thunder Kick, Crescent Kick was faster and could be used as a long-distance attack. Chapter 607. Wave Moon Kick was a leg technique that Li Fan learned from Wyvern, and it kicked out a half-moon wave. Li Fan couldn't be far away from Susu and Bai Lin Luo. Bai Lin Luo was fine, but Susu and the 2 special soldiers were here, and they couldn't deal with the attacks of these Warlock Team. Li Fan noticed that each of these Warlock Team members was riding an electric scooter. This scooter was also high-tech. There were no wheels under the scooter, and it seemed to use a magnetic levitation method, allowing the scooter to float on the ground and carry the Warlock Team quickly. This made Li Fan think of Chen Junhua of Huashan. This kid could also use a big sword as a hoverboard to step on. After all, it was a secret elite force cultivated by the government, and the Warlock Team gave Li Fan a headache. Bang, bang, bang. The Warlock Team spat out a second round of fireballs. These fireballs were no longer thrown into the air, but directly bounced towards Li Fan from all directions. Moreover, they didn't attack at the same time. This long team attacked according to the echelon. There were about 10 people in a team, and the front of the team attacked first, and then the back. The fireballs bounced towards Li Fan one after another. With Susu and the others around, Li Fan seemed to be a little restrained, and he frowned deeply. He was fully focused on protecting Susu and the others. The great god of war collapsed, and it would take some time to recuperate before he could come out. Li Fan used his strong body and the crane's hand to hit the fireballs in front of him again and again. The two special soldiers were not inferior. They pulled the trigger, and the bullets constantly pierced through the fireballs, reducing the burden on Li Fan. Li Fan, I'll help too, Bai Linluo said, opened his card bag, and chose Wang Xiaoyuan's good person card. Wang Xiaoyuan picked up the shield in her hand and raised it to block the fireballs around her. However, Wang Xiaoyuan's strength was too low. Her shield broke after blocking 2 of these fireballs. Li Fan thought of something. He reached into his pocket and took out the golden card. Murongying, the war goddess of Leo constellation. S-rank good guy card. Li Fan threw out the good guy card. Black clouds suddenly gathered in the sky, and a golden light directly broke through the clouds, landing in front of Li Fan and the others, smashing a pit in the ground. A woman clad in golden lion armor stood in front of Li Fan and the others. The woman carried a lion head shield on her back and a flying lion sword on her waist. She looked valiant and formidable without losing her prestige. She placed her hands in front of her and used her arms to block all the fireballs in front of her. However, her armor was not damaged at all. There was not even a speck of dust on it. It was still shining brightly. Fuck me. Bai Linluo swallowed his saliva. They were both Leo warriors. The difference in levels was too big. Looking at Wang Xiaoyuan, she only had a few simple armor pieces on her body, a small round shield, and a small short sword. She was simply a poor commoner. Looking at Murongying, she was really a Leo goddess of war. That beautiful golden armor was carved with the shape of a lion, and her golden lion shield and flying lion sword looked to be top-grade weapons. They could instantly kill Wang Xiaoyuan. The difference between S-rank and B-rank is too big. Bai Linluo couldn't help but be a little envious. Murongying stood there, looking at the warlock team in front of her, and pulled out the flying lion sword on her waist. Different from Carlos's golden-laid third-rate sword, this flying lion sword had a pure golden blade. When the blade was unsheathed, golden light shone in all directions. She took off the golden lion shield on her back with her other hand and held it in her hand, walking toward the warlock team step by step. Bang, bang, bang. The warlock team kept shooting fireballs at her, but when they hit her shield, they all bounced to the side. It was unknown what material Murongying's golden lion shield was made of, but it was very special. It couldn't be said that its defense was very strong. It was basically immune to attacks. Murongying slowly walked to the front of a warlock, waved her sword, and the flying lion sword cut off his head. The remaining warlocks were so scared that they peed their pants and hurriedly stepped on their scooters, scattering in all directions. This time, their long snake formation was directly thrown into chaos. Big brother, how about you return Murongying's good person card to me? Bai Linluo begged dryly. Haha, you wish. Li Fan couldn't help but laugh. As expected of his wife, she was so fucking energetic. Murongying was like an undefeatable god of war, chasing after the warlock team step by step. She didn't care about the fireballs around her, which hit the shield and bounced off. Even if it exploded on her body, it only set off a wave of fire before dispersing. Not even the armor was damaged. When this Murongying's good person card came out, the muscles on Scarface's face twitched. Fuck, what the hell is this? There was no such woman in Scarface's information. This fellow's appearance was definitely an accident. Did you take them down? The voice of the military committee's chairman came from Scarface's earphone. No, it was a bit unexpected. Unexpected? I gave the warlock team to you. The roar of the military committee chairman. The information you gave was wrong. Scarface suppressed his anger. You didn't say that they have an invulnerable war goddess. What war goddess? How could they have such a person? The military committee chairman was stunned for a moment, then reprimanded Scarface. I have checked everyone on their ship. What invulnerable war goddess? How could there be such an expert? He suddenly remembered something and said, but on their ship, there is a kid named Bai Linluo. He is a summoner-type mutant. You idiot. Don't you know the ability of a summoner? But this woman that was summoned is too terrifying. The warlock team's attacks are useless against her. Scarface saw the war goddess kill a few more warlock team members. His eyes turned green. Where did this woman come from? How could a summoned beast be so powerful? Scarface felt some heartache when he saw the warlock team being chased around like chicks. As a last resort, we can only use number 0. Scarface heard the order and was momentarily stunned. You sure? That thing hasn't passed the final test. This is the best test. The military committee chairman said. Plus, you heard what I said before. I said, this is a last resort. Do you understand the meaning of these words? The military committee chairman began to roar. What it means is, you fucker, hurry up and do it. Scarface sighed, hung up the phone and gave the order to his subordinates. In the sky, a helicopter flew over and dropped a metal capsule, heavily landing on the ground. Chapter 608. Boom. Similar to Goddess of War Murong Ying's appearance, this metal capsule also smashed a hole on the ground. The metal capsule suddenly popped open and sprayed out a white mist. A bare-chested man was imprisoned inside. The man looked like a foreigner. He had blonde hair and blue eyes, but his hair reached his waist. He also had a messy beard. He looked like a barbarian who had escaped from somewhere. His body was covered with knife wounds, making his body feel like it was broken. This man wore a metal hat on top of his head with a cable connected to the metal capsule. He walked out of the capsule in a daze with a dull look in his eyes. Who is this bro? Li Fan looked at the blonde man who walked out of the capsule and was puzzled. I don't know, but he should be their secret weapon. Susu said. This group of people, what tricks are they playing now? Ignore him, Susu. It's time for you, the strategic weapon, to make your move. Kill him. Li Fan ordered Susu, but Susu shook her head. No, my ability can only be used within 10 meters. He is too far away from me. I can't use my ability. Fuck. Li Fan protected Susu and the rest. Looking at the blonde man, his brows couldn't loosen even if he wanted to. Since this guy is the secret weapon of the Joint Military Committee, he must have come with ill intentions. This Joint Military Committee is really tyrannical. An arbitration organization actually wants to use lynching to try me, and even sent these killers to kill me. Hee hee. The existence of this organization is an insult to human rights and the law. Their behavior was a retrogression of civilization. Sooner or later, they will be nailed to the pillar of shame in history. Li Fan coldly looked at the warlocks who continued to besiege him. As for the man who was being controlled, he also received a new order and placed his gaze on him. This man stretched out his hand and a terrifying shockwave suddenly tore through the ground and directly arrived in front of Li Fan and the rest. Protect! Li Fan shouted. The great god of war finally popped out at this moment. His body floated down and his arms blocked in front of him, protecting Li Fan and the rest. Bang! The ground around them was lifted up. The rocks, earth, and trees behind them were also sent flying. It's psychic power. Susu immediately said, powerful mental strength. This man, he's at least an S-class mutant. Maybe even higher. The man stretched out his hand again, and a huge boulder beside him broke apart, leaving behind a huge boulder that was over 10 meters long. It was lifted into the air, and soon, it was above Li Fan's head. Then, like the weight of Mount Tai, it came crashing down. Boom! Li Fan's Ursa Major Seal directly smashed the boulder into pieces. The 10 broken pieces fell down and were blocked by the goddess of battles, Murong Ying, who had returned to Li Fan's side. Ah! The man suddenly screamed, as if there was a wave of sound coming from his mouth. With him as the radius, a terrifying circular ripple spread out in all directions. Just like that, it rushed out and crushed the surrounding trees. The warlock team retreated early, as if they already knew of this guy's prowess. They all ran away. This time, Murong Ying blocked in front of Li Fan and smashed the Golden Lion battle shield into the ground. Holy shield defense. A male lion emitted light, blocking the sound wave, allowing Li Fan and the rest to be safe and sound. The 1-meter-thick black iron walls behind them were distorted by the impact of the sound wave. From this, it can be seen how terrifying this person's sound wave is. Li Fan secretly thought that even if he were to face this sound wave head-on, he might not be able to completely block it. Strong. Simply too strong. Li Fan really wanted to know where these guys found such a powerful expert. You protect them. I'll be back soon. Li Fan decided to fight this guy alone. He kept his war god and used his chi condensation technique to form a coat around his body. Li Fan faced the sound wave and slowly walked out of the Holy Shield's defense. The chi on his body was slowly distorted by the impact. In the face of such a powerful sound wave, Li Fan really couldn't take it. He walked with difficulty toward the golden-haired man in the center. Li Fan's chi condensation technique was evolved from the war god, but at this moment, a thin layer of chi coat could no longer block such a terrifying sound wave. Before long, the chi on Li Fan's body would be shattered, and then he would be completely torn to pieces by this sound wave. Scarface stood far away, watching this scene through binoculars, and subconsciously breathed a sigh of relief. This kid is finally going to be killed. No matter how powerful he is, he can't be a match for Zero. Zero is the Joint Military Committee's secret weapon, built with countless manpower and material resources. However, he still has some experiments that he didn't pass, so he didn't use it. Otherwise, if he used a complete Zero, he might be able to defeat the whole world. Damn it! Li Fan really wanted to curse. This guy, where did he get such a strong mental strength? Li Fan felt that his chi was getting thinner and thinner, and danger seemed to be coming soon. But he suddenly thought of someone, and that was Carlos. Carlos was the idiotic leader of the Knights of Holy Light, but his combat energy was indeed not bad. Chi, battle energy, different paths lead to the same goal. Li Fan thought, what if he used his chi in the same way as battle energy? He began to increase the density of his chi and continuously squeezed out more chi from his dantian. Li Fan fully used his imagination, imagining the chi as a battle armor and put it on his body, turning the chi into armor. This was Li Fan's bold imagination. At this moment, Li Fan's dantian was quickly producing chi. It was like a V8 engine, constantly pressing out more chi to protect Li Fan's body. Pure yang constitution. Li Fan's body suddenly shone brightly, and the blue and white chi was burning into a golden-red color. It was as if Li Fan was wearing a suit of armor, looking awe-inspiring. Golden armor. Li Fan was now the god of war, and his pupils turned golden. This golden armor could not strengthen Li Fan's combat power, but it greatly enhanced his defense, making him really look like a general in armor. In order to deal with these mutants, Li Fan forced his chi to evolve. Li Fan walked toward the opposite side step by step, leaving a deep footprint on the ground with each step. At this moment, even the scar-faced man in the distance felt a terrifying pressure from Li Fan. Everything around the blonde man was destroyed. Except for the metal capsule, that thing seemed to have some special protection, and only it was safe and sound. Li Fan walked in front of him and was slightly stunned. Chapter 609. Although the blonde man was releasing a terrifying power, 2 lines of tears flowed out of his eyes. When Li Fan saw this scene, his body trembled slightly. This guy actually cried? A dignified expert has now fallen to such a state. Are you crying for this? Li Fan's voice was wrapped in true chi from 1,000 miles away and directly transmitted to the blonde man's ear. The blonde man didn't speak, nor did he have any expression. He just continued to shed tears. Retreat immediately. Scarface had already brought all the Warlock team onto the helicopter. He looked down and said faintly, "Let Zero attack with all his strength." Are you crazy? The chairman of the Joint Military Committee was in a video conference with Scarface. When he heard this, he flew into a rage. Are you going to kill the only clue? Watch your tone. I'm the commander on the scene. Scarface said bluntly, Li Fan's fighting strength is amazing. If Zero doesn't go all out, it's impossible to defeat Li Fan. Zero at full throttle is a world-class disaster. The chairman reminded Scarface loudly. Are you? Going to destroy everything? You want to catch Li Fan, and you want to activate Zero. I'm just completing your mission. Scarface said very indifferently, since Li Fan is so powerful, a disaster can't kill him, but it's enough to seriously injure him. At that time, I can naturally use the Warlock team to completely defeat him and then capture him for you. But, the chairman, who was shouting to activate Zero, hesitated at this time. Do you have a better idea? Scarface pointed the camera down and zoomed in. Li Fan, dressed in golden armor, stood proudly in front of Zero, completely unharmed. The surrounding ground was lifted up several layers, proving how terrifying the blonde man was. This scene touched the chairman's heartstrings. He was shocked. I agree. To execute your plan, the chairman gave the order. In the military committee, he was now the highest executive officer. Although he didn't have the power to arrest a temporary law enforcer from China, Li Fan must be taken down. Everything is for the law and justice, he shouted confidently. Scarface sneered and gave the order. Let Zero use the maximum horsepower, and then fuck the law and justice. As soon as he finished speaking, a row of blue lights suddenly lit up on the helmet on Zero's head. Zero's eyes suddenly widened, and at the same time, his eyes became bloodshot. Bang! Li Fan was shaken to the point of swaying, because a powerful force burst out from the golden-haired man's body. The entire island shook, and a crack appeared on the Golden Lion's defense. All of the trees and buildings on the island were broken and destroyed. But this was only the first wave. The golden-haired man spread open his arms, and the shrill scream from his mouth began to be ear-piercing. Wave after wave rushed out, and the entire island began to slowly collapse. The huge black iron walls that sealed the island were also shaken to the side, and huge waves were set off. Flying Dragon and Big Dipper stood on the deck of Li Fan's ship, frowning as they looked at the crumbling island in the distance. Beside them were the corpses of many invaders. Lu Xiaohu hid in the cabin, shivering. With the island as the center, circular waves rolled out from the surface of the sea, spreading in all directions. Scarface sat in the helicopter, watching the scene below. His expression was calm, but the slight shock in his eyes betrayed his inner thoughts. Zero, who was at full power, was really a disaster, just like the chairman said. Power. This is Zero's power. The chairman, who had been worried just now, saw this scene through the camera. He became so excited that his face twisted. See? This is power. We have this power. We can benefit mankind. Yes, benefit mankind. The Golden Lion's defense was full of cracks. It was unknown when it would collapse together with the island. Li Fan stood closest to the disaster. He looked at the golden-haired man's eyes. The golden-haired man was still crying. This time, it was red tears of blood. The blood tears flowed down his cheeks, and when they dripped down his face, they were shattered by his power. Don't cry, Li Fan suddenly said. Whether good or bad, you must have been a man of indomitable spirit. Now that you have fallen to such a state, it's really pitiful. I, Li Fan, will help you free yourself, Li Fan said, pulled out his hero's sword and threw it into the air. The hero's sword immediately spun and flew to the top of the golden-haired man's head, teetering on the verge of falling. Transcend. Li Fan suddenly withdrew the true qi in his body. At that moment, his body was shaken to the point that countless wounds appeared on his body. Blood spurted out. God Slayer. A thunderbolt came down from the hero's sword and directly hit the golden-haired man. The golden-haired man's spiritual power was much stronger than Mr. Yang's. This thunderbolt turned his body into charcoal, but his head remained intact. His head fell to the ground. He closed his eyes and a smile hung on the corner of his mouth. Puff! Li Fan half knelt on the ground and spat out a mouthful of blood. This golden-haired man is really not a fucking mortal. His spiritual power is too strong. The island began to collapse. Murong jumped to Li Fan's side, stretched out her hand and picked him up. Because he was wearing the full lion golden armor, Murong was able to pick up Li Fan without any problem. Run! Bai Lin Luo had already asked Wang Xiaoyuan to grab him and Susu. He also asked the Gemini Susu soldiers to carry the two Special Forces soldiers and quickly rushed towards the small cruise ship on the sea. Morongying carried Li Fan and jumped 7 to 8 meters away, chasing after by Lin Luo and the others. But at this time, the scarred man personally piloted an armed helicopter and flew above their heads, aiming at them. The barrel of the gun turned, and a dense barrage of bullets rained down on them. At this time, Li Fan did not have any true energy to protect him. However, Morongying quickly turned around and used her back to block Li Fan. Dang, dang, dang. The bullets bounced off Morongying's back, splashing golden sparks. The scarred man continued to shoot, and the bullets were like rain. Morongying could not move, and the island would completely sink into the sea at any time. The island had already cracked open, and many of the ground began to split apart, drifting to both sides with the sea. If this continued, Li Fan and the others would be in danger at any time. Because summoning-type mutants, their summons had a major weakness, that was, they could not touch seawater. Chapter 6:10. Once the summon comes into contact with seawater, it will immediately lose its effect. Although this is a bit annoying, it can't be helped. Superpowers are such a strange thing. Damn it! Bai Lin Luo pushed his glasses. He was already standing on the deck. No problem, leave it to me. Big Dipper stood on the boat and looked at the armed helicopter in the sky. He extended his left foot and drew a semicircle on the ground before landing on the other side. He spread his legs and lowered into a horse stance. A breath was drawn out from his dantian and gathered in his fist. Big Dipper's white beard fluttered as if he was an immortal. Huh. Big Dipper suddenly roared and directly punched out. This was the first time seeing Big Dipper directly punch, and the tail of the armed helicopter that was firing in the sky was directly blown off. The helicopter spun in the air and fell towards the sea. Scarface jumped down from the helicopter without hesitation and plunged into the sea. Phew! Big Dipper let out a mouthful of turbid air and slowly stopped. Senior Big Dipper, your starshine myrtle is truly unparalleled. Fei Long respectfully cupped his hands towards Big Dipper. Such a powerful fist technique is worthy of respect. You flatter me, you flatter me. Big Dipper stroked his beard and smiled. Compared to Chief Escort's 7 Hero Fist, it's still too lacking. Li Fan's 7 Hero Fist was currently ranked 8th in the Divine Skill Manual. After defeating many Dragon Hall experts in a row, Li Fan's 7 Hero Fist rose from 10th to 8th place. And he himself also successfully fought his way into the top 100 of the Pugilistic World Celebrity Ranking, currently ranked 88th. From now on, there will be more and more challengers looking for Li Fan to compete with him. Bang! Morongying hugged Li Fan and jumped onto the boat. She completed the final task and turned back into a good person card and fell down. Bai Lin Luo subconsciously reached out to catch it. Unexpectedly, this good person card emitted a circle of golden light and actually jolted Bai Lin Luo back 3 or 4 steps. This good person card fell into Li Fan's pocket and then disappeared. Amazing! Bai Lin Luo was a little surprised. This good person card seemed to have some kind of special power. It actually resisted its master's summons and only wanted to stay by Li Fan's side. It seems like this good guy card is also a fortuitous encounter. Bai Lin Luo couldn't explain this kind of thing, so he could only say it was fate. Susu hugged Li Fan and helped him back to the cabin. Meanwhile, Big Dipper and Flying Dragon stood on the deck and were responsible for escorting the ship. A few armed helicopters continued to chase after the small cruise ship. Fei Long sneered. Standing on the deck, he turned around and kicked. A whirlwind flew out and was sent into the sea. The whirlwind was very violent. It instantly sucked up the seawater and formed a waterspout. The assault helicopters could not dodge in time and were pulled in by the waterspout and were torn apart. The Flying Dragon retracted its leg. Big Dipper stroked his beard and smiled. Fei Long, your Stormwind kick has also reached perfection. You flatter me, senior. As the chief escort, I have to show some ability. You're right, you're right. The two of them stood on the deck like two terrifying door gods, herding the approaching assault helicopters. Meanwhile, Li Fan was currently lying in his room. As the ship moved, his body slowly swayed, but his condition was a lot more stable. Li Fan, nothing can happen to you. If something happens to you, you won't be able to get your remaining 1 million back. Susu crouched beside Li Fan's bed and couldn't help but gently caress Li Fan's face. This man, he really has a fatal charm. Women can't help but want to like him. When she first received the mission to invite Li Fan, she actually didn't think much of this so-called martial artist. In her mind, martial artists were just a bunch of people who only knew how to fight. How could they understand the world of mutants? However, Li Fan's actions proved his strength and the strength of martial artists. Susu originally thought the world of mutants was very mysterious and very scary. People lived in a world where the truth was hidden from them, and they lived much more happily than she did. However, after coming into contact with Li Fan, she realized that the world of martial artists was even more unfathomable and dangerous. If Li Fan got involved in this unexpected disaster because of her, Susu would regret it for the rest of her life. He helped her so many times, but she couldn't be of any use at the crucial moment. 1 million. I have to give. Li Fan suddenly opened his eyes. Perhaps due to exhaustion, he slowly said, You're 25,000. Give it to me too, motherfucker. Susu angrily punched Li Fan's chest. Bai Lin Luo, who just fed Li Fan 2 recovery pills, jumped in fright. What's wrong with this girl? Fuck. You're too violent. No wonder you know how to crush eggs. Li Fan sat up and slightly moved his upper body. Fortunately, I brought Luo Xiaofeng's pills, otherwise I might really have to lie down for a few days. This time, Li Fan's true qi is completely used up. If the true qi is completely used up, the dantian will dry up. If he wants to restore the true qi in his body, it would usually take months or even years. Why do I say that? Because the true qi in the human body is cultivated from the dantian. The true qi in the dantian must circulate through the meridians once to make the true qi stronger. When two people fight, to say that they exhausted their true qi is actually an exaggeration. Usually, they would leave about 10%. This 10% is used as a foundation in the body, continuing to circulate through the meridians, so that the lost true qi can slowly recover. If the true qi is completely used up, even the meridians can't circulate anymore, then how can the true qi be recovered? The only way is to recuperate, regulate, and let the true qi slowly grow out. It's like using water from a faucet that was not tightened to fill a bucket of water. It takes a long time. Leaving 10% of the true qi in the body is the foundation. But this time, in order to kill the golden-haired man, Li Fan had used up all of his true qi. If it wasn't for Luo Xiaofeng's pills that could recover some of his true qi, Li Fan would really have to lie down for a long time. Seeing that Li Fan is fine, Susu is angry and embarrassed. Humph, don't take that 25,000. I'll give you a 250 red packet later and stuff it into your crotch. You little girl, how can you speak so inelegantly? What crotch? That's called a crotch. Do you know that? Fuck you. I can't be bothered with you. With that, Susu twisted her butt, turned around, and ran out. She's quite worried about you. Bai Lin Luo winked at Li Fan. Congratulations on having another peach blossom debt. Chapter 611. By the time they returned to the capital, it was already 7 days later. They had been sailing for half a month on this sea. The next 7 days were calm and peaceful, and no one came to disturb them again. This was something Li Fan was looking forward to. Standing on the boundary of the capital, Li Fan breathed a sigh of relief. Fuck, it's still the best to have one's feet on the ground. Domestic land is still the most comfortable. Li Fan took a deep breath and then choked on the air pollution in the capital. Ha ha ha. Susu couldn't help but laugh. You're taking a deep breath in the capital? Do you want to die? Fuck. Li Fan wanted to curse. Damn it. The air in the imperial capital was only the cleanest during the few days of the Olympics. A group of stupid foreigners cried and shouted that the air in the capital was good during the Olympic Games. It was nothing like what the rumors said. Fuck. Don't leave after the Olympic Games if you have the guts. Li Fan adjusted his breathing and let his lungs return to normal. Sister Susu, you're back. When Susu and the others returned to the Special Abilities Bureau, they suddenly received bad news. Sister Susu, the chief, Qingyu ran out with a long face and threw himself into Susu's arms, crying nonstop. Qingyu, what's wrong? Speak properly. Susu stroked Qingyu's head and asked, the chief, she passed away. Shocking bad news. Susu was dumbfounded at that moment. Li Fan was also taken aback when he heard this. Fuck, that old lady might be a bit muddle-headed, but her body is still quite healthy. How did she die just like that? The Special Abilities Bureau is now leaderless, and everyone is in a mess. The students are no longer in the mood for class. Qingyu wiped his tears and said sadly, a high-ranking official came today, saying that he wants to take over the Special Abilities Bureau. Got it. Leave it to me. Susu nodded. At this moment, she suddenly felt like a big sister, looking particularly reliable. It's good that you're back. Qingyu nodded and obediently stood beside Susu. Li Fan frowned. He asked Seven Star and Flying Dragon to keep an eye on Poseidon while he, Lu Xiaohu, and Bai Linluo followed Susu into the Special Abilities Bureau. Once inside, the Special Abilities Bureau was different from the past. In the past, the Special Abilities Bureau was very busy. Many staff members in the hall were monitoring and searching for mutants. At this moment, all the staff members were gone. A group of armed soldiers had taken control of the Special Abilities Bureau. A man in a long black robe stood there with his hands clasped behind his back, looking at the big screen above the hall. Looks like everyone's back. The black-clothed man turned his head and looked at Susu with an indifferent expression. From today on, the Special Abilities Bureau will be under the jurisdiction of a sweeper. Why? Susu was unhappy. Our Special Abilities Bureau has second-level privileges. Other than Zongnanhai, it is not under the jurisdiction of any other department. I'm sorry, we wipeouts have level 1 privileges. The man in black chuckled. We can directly lead you. This is our right. By the way, you need to get to know your future leader. That's me. He pointed to himself. My name is Long Qingyun, the leader of the sweepers. From now on, you can call me Chief Long. Long Qingyun continued. I'm different from your previous director. I'm a person who abides by the rules. In the future, all mutants in the Special Abilities Bureau will be subject to a strict management system. All mutants had to wear mutant collars. They can only be taken off when they are on a mission. These words shocked Susu and the others. Long Qingyun, what right do you have to do this? We are soldiers of the Special Abilities Bureau, not criminals. Susu directly questioned Long Qingyun opposite her. Of course I have the right to do so. We have level 1 privileges. Long Qingyun chuckled. Half a month ago, the Geneva Court of Trials was massacred by mutants. The death toll exceeded 100, and the judge and the chairman of the Joint Military Commission were also unfortunately killed in this massacre. Do you think mutants can still be as free as they are now? Li Fan and Susu glanced at each other. Sure enough, it was just like Mr. Yang's plan. Now, the whole world had begun to boycott mutants. You guys seem to be having an internal strife. Why don't you let me go first? Poseidon muttered at the side, causing Li Fan to glare at him fiercely. He was so scared that he fell silent. This Poseidon was not afraid of others, but he seemed to be afraid of Li Fan. We are already showing mercy by letting you live, Long Qingyun said. Long Qingyun said, we, the sweeper, are a department specially established to wipe out all abnormal humans. Mutants are also among our hunting targets. You people either put on the mutant collar immediately or be executed on the spot. You don't have any right. Susu clenched her fists. The Special Abilities Bureau is a regular agency. If you want to give us an order or punish us, you must produce the corresponding documents. There's no need for documents. The sweepers have level 1 privileges. Taking over the Special Abilities Bureau is within my authority. Now that the director of the Special Abilities Bureau has passed away, the Bureau is without a leader. According to the level 1 privilege law, I can immediately take over the director's position. Sorry to disturb your daydreaming. Susu suddenly took out a document from her pocket. Before the director passed away, she personally signed this document. She spoke eloquently. This document clearly states that if the director passes away due to illness, then Bai Lin Luo, a senior agent of the Special Abilities Bureau, will immediately take over the director's position. Bai Lin Luo seemed a little surprised, but he pushed up his glasses and did not speak. Even if he did not want to be the director of the Special Abilities Bureau, he could not speak at this moment. After going through so much together, they were already comrades. Now was the time when Susu needed someone to replace her. The former director has passed away, and the document she signed is invalid. Long Qingyun's expression seemed a little ugly. I'm sorry, but this document was signed by her before she died. It's valid. Susu emphasized. If you are not convinced, we can go to the relevant department to notarize it. Susu was a little proud. Do you think you can take this opportunity to seize power? Let me tell you, our director may be old, but she's not completely muddled. She has long predicted this day. The Special Abilities Bureau will never be handed over to outsiders. Mutants are now the public enemy. Long Qingyun's voice was a little higher. If you resist the sweepers, you will be the enemy of all mankind. While speaking, the sweepers in black special combat suits all raised the guns in their hands and aimed at Susu and the others. These people had specially made guns in their hands, giving off a somewhat high-tech feeling. They seemed to be specially used to deal with mutants. For a moment, the atmosphere was a little tense. Chapter 6:12. Li Fan knew that Susu would not lower her head. Once she did, the Special Abilities Bureau would be finished, and so would all the ability users who were still students. Bai Lin Luo pushed his glasses and took a step forward. Chief Long, I don't know what kind of organization you are. This is the first time I've heard of it. However, if you want to catch us, you must have the relevant documents from Zongnanhai. He was not the least bit afraid. Without the documents, all your actions are illegal. Please go back. Do you know what level 1 privilege is? Long Qingyun's eyes flashed with a trace of haze. You're just a kid, and you're pretending to be old and experienced. Let me tell you right now, I have immunity to murder mutants. I can kill you now and go back to make a report. You will die in vain. The most nervous one here was Lu Xiaohu. He was just a junior high school student, and suddenly faced with such a situation at this time, he was very nervous. This mutant collar. After wearing it, he could no longer use his superpower. If he felt even a little bit of mental power, his head would explode. He did not want that to happen. Lu Xiaohu took 2 steps back, then suddenly turned his head and ran outside. Stop him! Long Qingyun shouted, and the 2 sweeper pulled the trigger. 2 blue lasers instantly shot toward Lu Xiaohu, but Li Fan was faster. He directly used Dragon Toad's ingestion of water and pulled Lu Xiaohu to his side, dodging the 2 lasers. The lasers hit the wall behind, leaving 2 black holes on it. Lu Xiaohu's body went soft, and he had the urge to pee his pants. Li Fan frowned and stared at Long Qingyun opposite him. This Long Qingyun really wanted to kill. Long Qingyun, you're crazy. Bai Lin Luo did not hesitate and directly summoned Liao Qianqian and Wang Xiaoyuan. Liao Qianqian pulled out her rapier, while Wang Xiaoyuan raised her shield and stood in front of Lu Xiaohu. Hehe, you want to fight us? It seems that you're openly resisting arrest. Chief Long, since all of your actions are done privately, it means that these actions do not have any legitimacy. Bai Lin Luo pushed up his glasses. He had always been a quick-witted boy, and at times like this, his intelligence was almost demonic. Although he had summoned 2 beauties, his expression remained the same. Since everything you've done is illegal, we won't be resisting arrest. If you can successfully hunt and kill us, you can naturally report back as you please. But if you can't, I'm sorry, but our Special Abilities Bureau is not a pushover. Good. Long Qingyun looked at Bai Lin Luo and couldn't help but clap his hands in praise. No wonder you were appointed as the new bureau chief. You are indeed quite impressive. Long Qingyun waved his hand, and the two steel doors opened to reveal a group of mutant students. Susu and the others were stunned when they saw these students. The students, big and small, were all crying together. They all wore collars around their necks and begged Susu for help. Sister Susu, save me. Hoo, Sister Susu, I'm not a criminal. I've never done anything bad. Wang Bo, who was sitting in the crowd, also had a pale face, completely losing his previous arrogant look. What should we do? What should we do now? Lu Xiaohu's whole person was about to collapse. He seemed to see himself wearing a collar, sitting there, waiting to be trampled on. Calm down. Li Fan's palm was placed on Lu Xiaohu's back, and a stream of true qi entered Lu Xiaohu's body. Lu Xiaohu felt a heat flow from his master's body, which made him feel a lot calmer. If you don't obey, they'll die. Long Qingyun pointed, and the mutants standing behind the students all raised their weapons and pointed their muzzles at the students. Make your choice. Long Qingyun looked at them very conceitedly. Everyone chooses their own path. I'm very fair and just giving you the opportunity to choose. Either you wear a collar, or you die here. Or, we die here together. Little Four Eyes, don't be afraid. I'm here. Li Fan put his hands in his pocket and said with a smile. If he didn't say anything, this Long Qingyun would become more and more arrogant. Sure enough, when Long Qingyun saw Li Fan, his face slightly changed. Although he was trying his best to endure, at that moment, his changed face was still seen by Su Hao. Li Fan, you're a martial artist. You shouldn't interfere in our affairs. Long Qingyun lowered his voice and said, just now when you made your move, I didn't say anything. But you can't act recklessly. This is the internal affairs of the government. It has nothing to do with you. Yo, it seems like you know me. Li Fan raised his eyebrows. I'm quite famous. It really surprised me. Li Fan, your name has already been hung on the Genie Guard's blacklist. If you act recklessly, I'm afraid you'll have to face an even more terrible disaster. Believe me, I've seen more disasters than you know. Li Fan didn't fall for Long Qingyun's trick at all. If you dare to touch those students, I, the young master, will kill you right now. Li Fan gave Bai Linluo a wink, and Bai Linluo immediately understood. He nodded and said, Long Qingyun, Chief Long, you have first-level privileges, and we also have second-level privileges. In the face of threats, we can act first and report later. At worst, we'll fight to the death. Even if you leave your life here, I can also report that you, the sweeper, have betrayed the motherland and intended to rebel, and will be annihilated by my Special Abilities Bureau. The corner of Long Qingyun's mouth twitched. The soldiers behind me are all battle-hardened, and each of them is a dragon among men. The weapons they are equipped with are ability destroyers, laser weapons, specially designed to deal with mutants like you. You're really well prepared. It seems that you've been watching us for more than a few days, right? Bai Linluo looked at Long Qingyun and asked. It's obvious. You mutants are all potential time bombs. Long Qingyun looked at them and snapped. The Special Abilities Bureau has come to an end. Although the higher-ups haven't said anything yet, I, Long Qingyun, know that you're all threats. Well, we're threats. Shoot then. Li Fan smiled and casually stood in front of Long Qingyun. But when Long Qingyun saw him, his heart was beating like a drum. It was this Li Fan who showed great power in the Court of Trials. Although the video was not released to the public, he had seen it. He didn't want to get his head smashed into meat sauce by Li Fan's fist, but Long Qingyun was still a little eager to try. He wanted to get rid of the Special Abilities Bureau. Chief Long, you're a little short. Li Fan, who was standing beside Chief Long, almost jumped out of fright. Chapter 613. All the wipers around him immediately aimed their guns at Li Fan. However, Li Fan pressed his palm down, and a burst of energy directly erupted from the ground, impacting the surrounding wipers and sending them flying. Chief Long, we're just chatting. Isn't it boring to have so many people here? Li Fan stood next to Long Qingyun with a harmless smile on his face. Why don't we find a chance to have a private chat? Li Fan, don't go too far. Long Qingyun's heart thumped when he saw Li Fan. This Li Fan had extraordinary skills, and it would not do him any good to be his enemy. Even if he wanted to make life difficult for Li Fan, he could not choose this time. Those wipers seemed to be wearing some special equipment that could absorb some of the energy. After they were knocked down, they got up again and aimed their guns at Li Fan. However, Li Fan was not afraid at all. He just stood there as if he was really here to chat. Long Qingyun waved his hand and stopped them from attacking. Li Fan, this is the imperial capital, not City A. Even if you have eyes and ears everywhere in City A, in the imperial capital, even a tiger will have to lie down and a dragon will have to coil up. I, Li Fan, am neither a dragon nor a tiger. Li Fan smiled. I'm just an ordinary high school student. If Chief Long is willing to give a high school student a little face, get out of the Special Abilities Bureau. If you don't, I don't mind chatting with you. With that said, Li Fan gently raised one of his hands, and the hero's sword behind him was slightly unsheathed. Long Qingyun swallowed his saliva. The scene of Li Fan killing Yang Kai with the hero's sword was still fresh in his memory. This kind of thing was not a joke. It wasn't worth it to hack himself into pieces. Li Fan, if you dare to kill someone, it will not be a light crime. Especially since I'm a public servant. Look around and see how many of our people are here. Li Fan smiled. I'll kill you. I'll say that you fought with this kid, a mutant who resisted arrest, and that you died a heroic death. Li Fan pointed at Poseidon, who was standing next to him. The country might even add you as a martyr. What do you think? Do you feel a little excited just thinking about it? Long Qingyun was terrified, and Poseidon cried. He never thought that a terrorist like him could be of use in such a situation. Poseidon wanted to cry, but no tears came. Long Qingyun looked at Li Fan a few more times. He seemed to want to explode, but he dared not. Li Fan, today, I'll give you face. He squeezed the words out of his mouth. But don't be too proud. I'll come back. Next time you come, bring the documents. There are documents. The Special Abilities Bureau is subject to the arrangements of the state. Without the documents, when your people come, you'll have to crawl out. Bai Linluo also spoke ruthlessly. Long Qingyun coldly snorted, flicked his sleeves, and left the Special Abilities Bureau with the sweeper. After they left, Susu breathed a sigh of relief and ran to untie the collars of the students. The students of the Special Abilities Bureau looked at Li Fan in surprise. This assistant is so powerful. Even Long Qingyun, the sweeper, is afraid of him. This Long Qingyun really wants to get rid of us, Susu said. But without the documents from above, he probably won't dare to come again. After all, the Special Abilities Bureau is not a place where people can be trampled on. The Special Abilities Bureau is a department established by the government. I don't think the government will destroy this place for a while. Bai Linluo said while untying the collars of the students. There must be a power struggle behind this. The Special Abilities Bureau and the sweeper should have a big shot backing them. The game between the big shots may affect the Special Abilities Bureau. More than that, Li Fan glanced at Poseidon and then said to Bai Linluo, "Don't forget, Hunter. It's only Mr. Yang who died, Hunter." Bai Linluo's mind turned quickly, and he immediately understood what Li Fan said. You mean? Bai Linluo's face sank a lot. Well, Hunter's people are likely to have infiltrated the country. Li Fan made a very simple analysis. It's very likely that they have infiltrated the top. I'm wondering if the temporary president of Geneva is also one of Hunter's people? Susu was dumbfounded when she heard Li Fan's words. No, that's impossible. What's impossible about it? Li Fan reminded Susu. On the ship, Mr. Yang once told me something. Hunter is a secret organization jointly formed by various countries. It was originally created to deal with mutants. Later, when the Golden Empire was destroyed, this organization became useless and disbanded. But in reality, we all know that this organization has actually gone underground and continued to kill mutants. So, What if the people inside didn't leave but continue to serve the organization in their respective positions? Bai Linluo understood what Li Fan meant and nodded. Susu, on the other hand, was still a little skeptical. No, that's impossible. Besides, the Special Abilities Bureau has a lot of merits and contributions. Why would they want to kill us? Heh? Hunter is a good example. Li Fan smiled. As the saying goes, when the hares are dead, the hounds are cooked, and when the birds are dead, the bow is hidden. Once an organization with all kinds of privileges like this loses control, it will become an existence like the Golden Empire. So, Bai Linluo, if you believe me, immediately take these people from the Special Abilities Bureau and prepare to move. Where are we moving to? Bai Linluo didn't hesitate and immediately asked. City A, our base camp. Li Fan said, send everyone here away. I'm afraid the Special Abilities Bureau will no longer exist. I understand. Bai Linluo nodded. Susu, go and erase all the data of all the ability users. Prepare to evacuate the few of us. But there are still many mutants. We can't just give up on the Special Abilities Bureau, Susu frowned. The existence of the Special Abilities Bureau is to save those innocent mutants. Well, erase all the data of other ability users, and then move to another place. As long as there's no information, the sweeper won't know who the mutants are. Lu Xiaohu and the others can also go back to school with peace of mind and hide in the vast sea of people. Okay, let's go. I'll go and ask the prophet to come out. Susu walked toward the prophet's room. I'll go with you. Bai Linluo followed Susu to the basement. Li Fan, on the other hand, felt that something unexpected would happen. He and Big Dipper stood guard at the entrance of the Special Abilities Bureau. This place feels gloomy. When Bai Linluo came down, he couldn't help but mutter. Susu nodded. The prophet's temper is a bit strange. He likes places like this. Chapter 6:14. Susu said as she walked to the door of the room, stretched out her hand, and gently knocked on the door. Lord Prophet, it's no longer safe here. We need to evacuate immediately. Susu knocked on the door, but no one responded. Hey, Lord Prophet, don't be so silent. Susu was a little anxious. We will be in danger soon. Please leave with us quickly, Lord Prophet. After knocking for a long time, no one opened the door. Bai Linluo was anxious. Stop knocking at this time. How can you coax the prophet? He let Wang Xiaoyuan walk to the front, a big iron door. Take him away first. Wang Xiaoyuan immediately waved the sword in her hand, and with a clang, the lock on the iron door was broken. Then, Wang Xiaoyuan stretched out her leg and directly kicked. Bam! Wang Xiaoyuan raised her leg and directly kicked the iron door open. But at this moment, a few steel needles suddenly flew out. Each steel needle was as thick as 2 fingers, half a meter long, and instantly pierced Wang Xiaoyuan's body, sending her flying and heavily nailed to the wall behind. And a steel needle almost pierced Susu, but was sent flying by Liao Qianqian, who was controlled by Bai Linluo, with a sword. Dang! That steel needle was nailed to the door frame, and it was still slightly shaking. What's going on? Susu was frightened, and Bai Linluo asked Liao Qianqian to protect him, and poked his head out to take a look. This glance, Bai Linluo was stunned. There was no one in this room. The whole room was rusty, and it seemed to be covered in moss because of the damp basement. The room was full of bugs, big and small, black and green, crawling everywhere. It was very disgusting. And on a writing desk in the room, facing the position of the door, there was a man's head. This head was already somewhat rotten, and there were still bugs crawling in the holes on it. Bai Linluo almost threw up the food he had last night. What the fuck? This was too disgusting. This head even had a tongue, and there was a pin on the tongue, and a piece of paper was placed next to it. Bai Linluo pushed the stunned Susu. Where's your prophet? Susu pointed at the head. He is, fuck. Stop messing around. Bai Linluo rolled his eyes. This guy has been dead for a long time. Okay? He really is. Susu trembled with fear and subconsciously hid behind Liao Qianqian. Bai Lin Luo plucked up his courage and walked over. Those bugs hurriedly avoided him. He walked in front of the head. There was a piece of paper under the head. There were words written on the paper. Let's go. Bai Lin Luo's hair stood on end. He felt that things were very strange. The only brain he had left. Why the hell would he write the word run on the paper? Moreover, why did the steel needle shoot out the moment he opened the door? Was this the prophet's way of protecting himself? But if he really was a prophet, he would only be left with his head. Why would he protect her? At this moment, a group of bugs suddenly crawled over and began to gnaw on the head. Not long after, the head was gnawed until only the skull was left. This strange scene made Bai Lin Luo break out in cold sweat. This should be the prophet. After a long time, Susu calmed down a little, and Bai Lin Luo didn't know why, but he subconsciously stretched out his hand and gently touched the skull. An electric current immediately flowed through his body, and a scene appeared in Bai Lin Luo's mind. A few fragmented scenes were the scene of them running. Some of the scavengers appeared, and several students were shot by lasers. Long Qingyun's proud smile. Chief. Susu pushed Bai Lin Luo a couple of times before he came back to his senses. So, this is the prophet's ability. Bai Lin Luo felt that he knew something. Even if he's dead, his superpower hasn't disappeared. Susu, take this head. Let's run. Bai Lin Luo took off his shirt, hugged the skull, and stuffed it into Susu's arms. Susu almost cried, but thinking that this was an important prophet's relic, she reluctantly hugged it. Let's go. Bai Lin Luo didn't dare to have the slightest hesitation. The scene he saw just now should be what the prophet told him. He also saw some scenes about the prophet. In this room, the prophet once fought with a traitor of the Special Abilities Bureau. That traitor's ability was to control metal, and although the prophet didn't have any superpower for combat, he was extremely smart. In the end, the prophet was defeated and died in this room. But he locked this room with reality, making it impossible for anyone to get out. Finally, the other party ate the prophet's flesh and lived for a while. Finally, he began to eat his own flesh and blood. In the corner, there were also some bones thrown there. Those steel needles were also left by him, probably ready to sneak attack the next person who came in. This superpower has been preserved until now. The prophet probably didn't want to hurt outsiders, so he kept passing information on paper and didn't let anyone enter this room. Both of them were top mutants, and their superpower has been influential to this day. This kind of power really shocked Bai Lin Luo. At the last moment, the prophet warned them that something bad was going to happen. Moreover, to make it easier to carry, he used his mental force to influence the bugs and gnawed his own head clean. The prophet was dead, but his spiritual power still remained in his head. As the two ran out, Susu said, "At the bottom of the canal, we still have an amphibious ship built by the Special Abilities Bureau." Susu also heard about it from the old director. "Let's use this amphibious ship to escape. We also need to rely on it to attract people's attention." Okay, Bai Lin Luo nodded. This was the only way now. Long Qingyun wanted them dead, so he must have blocked all the major roads in the capital, making it impossible for them to escape. If there was an amphibious ship in the canal, it would be a wonderful escape plan. After coming out, Bai Lin Luo met up with Li Fan. All the Special Forces soldiers in the Special Abilities Bureau had been transferred away. Only the students and a few teachers were still here. Those who want to stay can go home now. Li Fan said to the mutant students, "If you're willing to come with us, you can come." I want to go home." "Me too." A lot of people shouted. "They can't go home." Qingyu suddenly came over and said, "Why?" Hearing this, Susu froze for a moment. These people were all children and lacked combat power. There was no need for them to run away with them. I just hacked into the sweeper's mainframe and found a piece of information. Although Qingyu was young, he seemed to be a computer expert. He frowned and said, The sweeper developed an alarm system and placed it in the capital. It can search for mutant genes. If we stay here, we will all die. Chapter 6:15. As Li Fan said, this time, the Special Abilities Bureau was really in a dead end. If these people stay in the capital, they will only find them one by one and kill them. Qingyu said, the only way is to leave this place together and hide in a place where they can't find us. When these students heard this, all of them had long faces. Not being able to go home. Was there anything more painful than being homeless in the future? They were still young. So how could they withstand such a blow? Even Wang Bo, the usually arrogant boy, couldn't help but burst into tears at this time. I want to go home. Lu Xiaohu secretly pulled Li Fan's sleeve. His eyes were also red, and tears were already swirling in his eyes. I know you all want to go home. I understand. Li Fan looked at these mutants who were hugging and crying and said, but you are different from ordinary people. You are mutants, and you can't live like ordinary people since you were born. Maybe you want to hate this place and the Special Abilities Bureau, but I have to remind you that without the Special Abilities Bureau, you might have died long ago. Now, do you continue to cry here and wait to be killed, or do you choose to leave with us and find a way to survive? Everyone was moved. They wiped their tears and looked at Li Fan. My name is Li Fan, the Chief Escort of Fifan Escort Agency. Li Fan put his hands behind his back and said arrogantly, even if it's Long Qingyun, he would still have to hold it in when he sees me. As long as I'm here, I'll keep you safe. These people looked at each other. Li Fan stretched out his hand and drew a line, and a shallow gully immediately appeared on the ground. Li Fan pointed and said, with this line as the boundary, those who are willing to go with me can come over. If you don't want to, you can stay here. I'll have Filong send you home one by one. Li Fan felt that he had done all he could, and this was the most he could do. Now that the Special Abilities Bureau was in a difficult situation, it was estimated that the following 1 million would never come. But no matter what, the Special Abilities Bureau must survive and not perish just like that. These people basically did not hesitate. They all walked over to Li Fan's side. These people were not stupid. Once the capital's alarm system was activated, they would have nowhere to hide. Surviving was the most important thing. All right, everyone follow me. Senior Big Dipper, Big Brother Flying Dragon, I'll have to trouble the two of you to bring up the rear. The two escorts nodded at Li Fan and followed at the back of the group. Bai Linluo summoned Wang Xiaoyuan again, and she followed the team. Liao Qianqian was also summoned. She carried a rapier and followed them. The Grand Canal was not far from here, but the journey was rather dangerous in the wilderness. In particular, these people were still children, and there were not many teachers in the school who knew how to drive. Although the Shield of China still had a few Iveco, no one knew how to drive them. Li Fan brought a group of people of all sizes and rushed towards the Grand Canal, according to Susu's instructions. The night sky in the suburbs was also the best cover. However, at that moment, a flare suddenly shot into the sky. The surrounding sky was lit up. Several helicopters flew over from the sky, all with the sweeper's logo on them. Fuck. Li Fan could not help but curse. These fuckers, they caught up so quickly. What should we do? Susu was very nervous. She hugged the prophet's head, a little at a loss. Don't be afraid. Fight with them. Li Fan nodded at 7-Star. 7-Star understood and immediately stopped and stood there. Both 7-Star and Flying Dragon were responsible for bringing up the rear, so they could stay in the capital. After all, the capital itself was also their territory. As long as they reached the Grand Canal, they could escape from the sweeper's clutches. If Li Fan was alone, he would not be afraid of these guys and would just fight with bare arms. But not now. He had so many people to protect, so he had to be careful. No matter how amazing he was, he could not split himself and protect everyone. Bang! 7-Star had already destroyed a helicopter with a punch, and the remaining helicopters continued to chase them. Sweepers sat on both sides of each helicopter, and they kept shooting at the mutants. With such an intense exchange of gunfire, several students were in danger. Flying Dragon, you go and help too. Li Fan felt that there were too many helicopters chasing them. There were also many sweeper driving off-road vehicles behind them, and they were also firing at them. Just 7 Star alone was far from enough. At this moment, 7 Star's muscles had already burst out, and he began to throw heavy punches. Flying Dragon also gathered his chi and condensed essence, sending out wind kicks to block the sweeper's pursuit. On one of the helicopters, Li Fan saw Long Qingyun. This damn bastard. Why doesn't he just go and die? Li Fan wanted to kill Long Qingyun directly, but he was very smart and afraid of death. Long Qingyun's helicopter was at least a few hundred meters above the ground. Whether it was 7 Star or himself, they could not hit that high. It was not like they were using sniper rifles. The group could only flee in panic, trying to shake off the sweeper. Special Abilities Bureau. Long Qingyun used a loudspeaker and shouted at them, "All of you must die today. Not a single one of you can escape. Fuck you. Who can help me shoot this bastard down? Leave it to me," Bai Linluo said, and took out a new card from his card bag. Li Fan was a bit surprised. Where did this guy get a new card? Bai Linluo threw out his hand. An array of light flashed. Lu Xinnan, wearing a bronze armor and holding a bow, stood there. Fuck. Li Fan was shocked. When did you confess to Lu Xinnan? That, I just did a small experiment. Bai Linluo coughed twice. Fuck, you can't just pick those I know. I've tried the others as well, but they're all C-level and even D-level cards. They're completely useless. Bai Linluo shrugged his shoulders. Those with good attributes are all people you know. Speaking of which, it's really strange. Fuck, and it's a Sagittarius. Only then did Li Fan know Lu Xinnan's astrological sign. From the beautiful armor on Lu Xinnan's body, it should be an A-grade card. She pulled the bow in her hand and aimed at the helicopter that looked like a black dot above her head. Thump! The bowstring made a sound, and an arrow turned into a meteor, disappearing from everyone's sight. Long Qingyun did not put this bow and arrow in his eyes. At a distance of more than 500 meters, even a sniper rifle would not be able to hit it. But in the next second, an arrow suddenly pierced through the glass and directly hit the pilot's head. The helicopter spun in the air, and Long Qingyun's face turned pale. Chapter 616. The co-pilot rushed over and stabilized the helicopter at the brink of death. Pull higher. Pull higher. Long Qingyun was in no mood to say anything else. He kept yelling for the helicopter to fly higher. He heaved a sigh of relief when the helicopter reached a height of more than 1,000 meters. At this height, there should be no problem. Sure enough, Lu Xinnan, who was wearing a bronze armor, put down the bow in her hand. Long Qingyun heaved a sigh of relief. These fuckers, how can they shoot from such a high place with a bow? Bai Linluo had hidden his cards well. He had 2 A-level cards and had kept them hidden until now. Looking at Lu Xinnan, who had been staring at the helicopter, waiting for an opportunity, Li Fan couldn't help but ask, "Fuck, tell me, are there any more hidden cards?" "There's really no more." Bai Linluo shook his head and showed his card bag to Li Fan. Sure enough, there were some C-level and D-level cards, plus 2 B-level cards, Wang Xiaoyuan and Su Su. The 2 A-level cards had turned into human form and were following the team. In this battle royale, everyone's life was on the line, especially Bai Linluo, who had seen so many scenes through the Prophet. That was why he had brought the A-level summoner with him to prevent the mutant students from dying. The canal is in front. Su Su saw the hope of victory. She led a group of mutants and a few teachers to the riverbed. At this moment, a black figure suddenly fell from the sky. It was like a black lightning bolt, striking at Li Fan. Li Fan's hair stood on end. Without hesitation, he jumped 2 meters to the side. Kaboom! The ground cracked and a crater was formed. There was a man wearing a black waistcoat, a black robe, and a black brocade guard hat. He was standing there with one palm on the ground. This ground was smashed down by his palm. Imperial Guard? And a black guard. Li Fan frowned and looked at the man who suddenly landed in front of him. Bang! He simply did not wait for Li Fan to react, suddenly bringing along a thunderous sound. He pounced in front of Li Fan. Li Fan raised his right hand and met his palm. Bang! As soon as their palms touched, both of them took a step back. Li Fan's right hand was still a little numb, as if he had been electrocuted. He did not react for a long time. Thunderbolt palm, Ouyang Lei. Li Fan had already guessed the other party's identity from this palm strike. Not bad. Ouyang Lei's face was gloomy. He was about 30 years old. His face was full of pockmarks. He flipped his hands, which seemed to carry the power of thunder. The thunderclap palm was one of the 3 great palm arts that were equally famous as the rushing thunder palm and the breaking steel hand. Once this thunderclap palm was mastered, it could shatter gold and break jade. It was extremely powerful. Now that he was using it, Li Fan was at a disadvantage. Li Fan was also astonished. As the saying goes, once an expert makes a move, one will know whether or not he is an expert. This Ouyang Lei's internal energy was actually much higher than Yushi's. He did not expect that there would be such a powerful expert among the blackguards. Of the 4 blackguards, Li Fan had already met 3 of them. There was also the Soul Burial Song, which Li Fan had never seen before. That 7 Heroes Fist of yours is just a fancy but impractical move. How can it compare to my thunderclap palm that has been passed down for generations? Ouyang Lei did not give Li Fan any time to think. Both his hands slapped towards Li Fan's temples. Impressively, it was the Twin Peaks piercing ear. It was as if there was a thunderous roar in his ears. However, Li Fan focused his mind and calmed his qi. He raised his true qi from his body and gathered it into his palms. Black Bear slamming door. Li Fan struck out with both palms and met Ouyang Lei's palm strike again. Although his right hand was still a little numb, this time, he infused his true qi into his palms and met Ouyang Lei's palm strike again. Boom! The air distorted for a moment. The palms of the two did not separate, but a strong burst of qi exploded in the surroundings. The surrounding soil was lifted up and blown everywhere. At the same time, Bai Linluo escorted a group of people to the side of the canal with Susu. Without hesitation, Susu took out the signal device that she had prepared earlier and pressed it. The water of the canal was originally very quiet, but in the next second, it began to surge. A ship that was more than 30 meters long emerged from the bottom of the canal. There was still water continuously flowing down from the top of the ship, but at this moment, many people came out from the forest beside them. They seemed to have been lying in ambush here for a long time. Ha ha ha, how stupid. Do you think that we don't know that there is an amphibious ship here? Long Qingyun's voice was released through a loudspeaker, echoing in the small forest. We have been lying in ambush for a long time, just waiting for you to walk into the trap. Looking at these people, the students were already scared to the point of peeing. Bai Linluo was the one with the highest combat power here. Although some of the other students' abilities were also good, such as Wang Bo, who could harden his body. But at this moment, he was already scared out of his wits and had long since wept like a river. As the director of the Special Abilities Bureau, Bai Linluo shouldered the responsibility of protecting these people. Meanwhile, Li Fan was still entangled with the black guard from the embroidered uniform guards. The two seemed to be equally matched, and for a while, there was no clear winner or loser. But Bai Linluo understood that neither of them used their full strength. This was how martial fighters competed. They liked to test each other before using their full strength. Li Fan had been vigilant against the other party and did not go all out. He just wanted to probe the other party's bottom line first. With Bai Linluo's 2 A-level good guy cards on his side, Li Fan was somewhat relieved. But at this moment, a truck suddenly broke through the trees and rushed out from the side. There was an unknown object mounted on the truck. It was like a loudspeaker, and it suddenly blared. A silent sound wave spread out, and all the mutants knelt on the ground, covered their ears, and screamed. Li Fan's heart skipped a beat. Although he did not know what it was, he understood that this thing must be specially made to deal with mutants. All the mutants screamed again and again, and no one could withstand such a sound wave. Bai Lin Luo knelt on the ground, covering his ears in pain. Ha 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 ha. Long Qingyun's laughter echoed, and he laughed excitedly. This is a sound wave specially made to deal with mutants like you. This time, I'll catch you all in one fell swoop. Long Qingyun, you're crazy. Li Fan knew that Long Qingyun could hear him, so he angrily rebuked. Everyone here is from the Special Abilities Bureau. Do you really want to kill them all? They are all mutants, a threat. Also, Li Fan, you shouldn't have gotten involved in this mess. But you just had to be stupid. I've invited the Blackguard's Thunderclap Palm. This time, you won't be able to escape. Obediently leave your life here. Chapter 617. Long Qingyun's plan was to capture all the people from the Special Abilities Bureau in one fell swoop. These people were all mutants. Not a single one of them could be left alive. As for Li Fan, he still had some use. Once Ouyang defeated him, he would learn the secret of Demon Island from him. Ouyang attacked Li Fan one after another, leaving Li Fan no time to rescue Bai Lin Luo and the others. The amphibious ship had already floated to the surface, and they were only one step away from surviving. Damn it! 7-Star and Flying Dragon were still guarding the rear far away. Only Li Fan was here. It would be great if he could bring another expert here, even if it was Pewdie. With him, he could save Bai Lin Luo and the others. Because this was specifically used to deal with mutants, Li Fan's Morong Ying's Good Guy card had also lost its effect. This sound wave could destroy a mutant's superpower gene. Li Fan, don't even think about helping. Ouyang strength was getting stronger, and his palm technique was getting sharper. Each strike was like a thunderbolt, deafening. Fuck you. Li Fan was furious. God of War. God of War suddenly popped out from behind him and slapped Ouyang body. However, Ouyang was not a pushover, and he seemed to have investigated Li Fan's kung fu. His body slightly moved backward, and he actually dodged the palm. God of War's second palm was already coming. Ouyang feet landed on the ground, and he met it with his own palm. Bam! God of War's body trembled, but Ouyang did not move an inch. This person, his cultivation is so high. Looking at Li Fan's shocked expression, Ouyang laughed. I'm sorry, but I'm the strongest among the Blackguards. Unlike what I look like, I'm already 70 years old this year, and I've been cultivating for 60 years. How can a kid like you win against me with 60 years of cultivation? Fuck. Li Fan really wanted to curse. This Ouyang was actually hiding such profound strength. 60 years, no matter what, he was at the peak of the peak. Li Fan fought with him a few times, and felt that he should have the strength of 6 to 7 dragons. Kill them. Long Qingyun gave the order at this moment. A few of the moppers raised their guns and aimed at the students. Li Fan was shocked. Without any hesitation, his feet flashed and he stepped on a gale, appearing in front of the sweeper. However, Ouyang followed him like a shadow. He also appeared in front of Li Fan and slammed his palm down on Li Fan's head. Li Fan allowed his head to be hit by Ouyang palm. His vision went black, and it was as if a bomb had exploded in his head. But at the same time, Li Fan also pushed out with his palms. 2 energy waves shot out from his palms and rushed into the crowd of people. 2 of the sweeper were hit by the energy waves. Their abdomens were instantly smashed. Flesh and blood splattered, and their bodies were split into 2. The 2 energy waves continued to fly out, piercing through several sweepers' bodies. Finally, they smashed a series of trees and dissipated into the forest. Li Fan was not in a good state either. His face was hit by a thunderbolt palm. He took 2 steps back and spat out a mouthful of blood. This kind of life exchange was indeed a bit unbearable. Li Fan circulated his energy to dispel his dizziness. He suddenly took a step forward and slapped Ouyang with his palm. Reckless. Ouyang sneered. He also used a thunderbolt palm to meet Li Fan's palm. His palm technique was incomparably overbearing. How could that kid compare to him? But when their palms met, Ouyang immediately regretted it. Dragon Toad inhale water. In almost an instant, the true energy in Ouyang body quickly moved towards Li Fan's palm. It was like a large vacuum cleaner, forcefully pulling his inner force into Li Fan's body. Ouyang was also an expert. He made a prompt decision and his true energy exploded from his palm, forcefully repelling Li Fan's hand. And at this moment, he had already lost the power of 2 dragons. But Li Fan could not absorb much of the power of these 2 dragons. Moreover, there were many impurities. His current Dragon Toad's absorption of water was just to prepare for another move. Li Fan crossed his hands in front of him. He fused Ouyang true energy with his own true energy. They converged and repelled each other. The surrounding air also started to rotate together, as if it was sucked in by the power in Li Fan's hands. Dragon Spitting Pearl. This was the move that Li Fan had modified from the Golden Toad Spitting Pearl. The 2 types of true energy complemented each other and also had a repelling nature. It made the power of the true energy even more ferocious. Li Fan's hands suddenly pushed outwards. Like a true dragon spitting out a pearl, an oval ball of air rotated and shot towards Ouyang. At that moment, a thought flashed through Ouyang mind. Shatter this chi pearl with 1 palm. But he instinctively had a thought. He could not touch this thing. If he touched it, he would definitely be finished. Reason and sensibility intertwined in an instant. It was a complex feeling. He was an old senior. If he dodged this move, then where would his status in the pugilistic world be? Scared away by a junior's fist technique? Where would he put his face? He was Ouyang, the successor of Thunderbolt Palm. Ouyang eyes emitted a red glow. His 2 hands gathered all the inner force in his body. The air began to distort. Ouyang let out a loud roar. Then, he pushed his palm forward. Both his hands pushed on top of the chi pearl. His inner force exploded. He wanted to crush this chi pearl. But when the chi pearl collided with his hands, it tore Ouyang palm into a bloody mess. Ouyang could no longer hold on. The clothes on his arms were torn apart by the aftershock. Open! Ouyang let out a loud roar. He endured the pain and pushed with both hands. Boom! The chi pearl landed in the forest nearby. The forest within a 10-square-meter radius was razed to the ground. Ouyang eyes were wide open. What the hell? Is this a joke? Come, continue, Li Fan said. He took out his hero's sword and flew it above Ouyang head. God-slaying. Ouyang knew this move. This guy was not an idiot. Without hesitation, he turned around and ran. He used his qinggong and stepped on the water. In the blink of an eye, he escaped from the river. Li Fan turned his head. A few students had already been hit by the laser and turned into charcoal. Long Qingyun had already started his massacre. All of you, die. Li Fan was angry. He roared. The Great War God behind him jumped out. The Great War God stretched out both of his palms and suddenly slapped upwards. Bang! A powerful force immediately rushed out, knocking all of these people to the ground. 7-star sword. Li Fan pulled the hero's sword. He split his hands into 7 swords and threw them forward. These sword shadows immediately nailed the sweeper to the ground, taking their lives. Li Fan's eyes were red. He decided to give Long Qingyun a parting gift. Chapter 6:18. Li Fan jumped high into the air and landed on the ground. His leg was like a battle axe as he chopped at the truck. Bang! The truck was sent flying by Li Fan's kick. It flipped in the air and smashed into the ground. The equipment used to deal with the mutants also exploded. Bai Linluo and the others finally recovered and hurriedly moved toward the amphibious boat. Kill them! Kill them! Don't let a single one of them go! Long Qingyuan roared angrily. If Li Fan and the others escaped, all his efforts would be in vain. Moreover, with so many mutants dead, it would be hard for him to explain to his superiors. However, Big Dipper and Fei Long also finished dealing with the pursuers and rushed back. The two of them worked together with Li Fan to repel even more mutants and escort all the mutants safely onto the boat. Not long after, the last mutant also entered the cabin. Li Fan nodded at Big Dipper and Fei Long. Without any hesitation, the two high-ranked escorts leaped onto the amphibious ship. Fei Long entered the cabin first while Big Dipper stayed on top. The mutants hid behind cover and continued to shoot at them. Li Fan had already activated his golden armor. It was as if his body was covered in golden armor as he faced the lasers head-on. His true energy density had reached a certain level. The lasers couldn't penetrate it at all, and instead bounced off the armor to the side. For a moment, lasers shot out in all directions in the forest. Many of the mutants were pierced by the bounced lasers. Big Dipper's muscles bulged. He roared and punched with both fists. The fist aura constantly hit the forest on the other side, setting off a series of explosions. Soil and trees flew and gravel shot into the sky. The mutants were all hiding behind cover. Li Fan took the opportunity to jump back and somersault in the air. He jumped into the amphibious boat's cabin through the passage. Big Dipper continued to punch like a machine gun, constantly bombarding the forest. The mutants could only hide in a sorry state, while the amphibious boat continued to sink. At the last moment, Big Dipper jumped into the cabin and closed the door. Dive at full speed. Susu stood in the command room and shouted. The amphibious ship immediately accelerated and sank into the bottom of the canal with a rumble. Then, the engine started and the hull of the ship suddenly rushed out. A wave set off in the water. The mutants also rushed out and kept shooting at the bottom. However, it was too late. The speed of the amphibious ship was extremely fast. By the time the moppers started shooting, they had already escaped. Bastard! 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 Long Qingyun roared again and again. He had already missed the best opportunity. Once the people from the Special Abilities Bureau escaped, they would surely disappear without a trace in a country as big as China. Once the Special Abilities Bureau's people escaped, they could only leave it to the embroidered uniform guard. Long Dipper with Li Fan. However, among the embroidered uniform guards, even Black Guard Ouyang Lei had been defeated by Li Fan. It would be difficult to defeat Li Fan again. Special Abilities Bureau. I will you. Dipper Long, Dipper. Long Qingyun's unwilling roar echoed in the forest. At the same time, Li Fan and the others had already boarded the so-called Hidden Dragon and were heading in the direction of City A along the Grand Canal. In addition to sailing underwater, the amphibious boat could also rise into the air and fly for a short period of time. They were going to take off from a safe place, fly into Songjiang, and then lurk at the bottom of the river in City A. Everyone in the cabin was gloomy and seemed unwilling to talk. The atmosphere was a bit depressing. After all, many people died, and all of them were people they knew. Little Four Eyes. I'm afraid you won't be able to go to school anymore. Li Fan called Bai Linluo aside and said to him, It doesn't matter. I'm already mentally prepared. Bai Linluo, on the other hand, was very open. I've thought it through. Since I was born different, I should take on the responsibility that I deserve. Bai Linluo glanced at the children in the cabin. I want to be a qualified director of the Special Abilities Bureau. I will lead them to save the Special Abilities Bureau and those innocent mutants. And Li Fan nodded and glanced at Lu Xiaohu, who was hiding and shivering. He sighed, walked to Lu Xiaohu's side, and pressed his hand on his shoulder. Xiaohu, master. I'm too useless. Lu Xiaohu's voice was also trembling, and he seemed to be sobbing. If I was a little stronger, Jujia wouldn't have died. Jujia was a little girl among the mutants. She looked pretty good and seemed to be good friends with Lu Xiaohu. Master, I'm so weak. Lu Xiaohu hugged Li Fan's arm and cried. I want to be stronger. I really want to be stronger. Then be stronger, Xiaohu. Li Fan patted his shoulder. Let's all become stronger together. Because of their lack of strength, several students died. Li Fan also blamed himself in his heart. Only by becoming stronger could he protect the people around him. If he was a little stronger, Bai Linluo wouldn't be unable to go to school. His life would also change in the future. Fortunately, Bai Linluo's parents were also abroad and wouldn't be affected by this. Master, I'm going to practice. Lu Xiaohu wiped away his tears and walked into the training room next to him. The facilities in this amphibious ship were very complete. There was also a unique survival system that ensured that the amphibious ship could stay underwater for a month, and the people on board could still maintain a normal life. I also have to work hard, Bai Linluo said. If my ability improves, the level of the good person card can also be upgraded. I want to strive to upgrade the level of the good person card to S rank. N. Li Fan didn't know how to train his mental force, but all the teachers also escaped. They were all people from the Special Abilities Bureau, and staying in the capital would only lead to death. They simply followed the Special Abilities Bureau and continued to work here, teaching other mutants and letting them become soldiers of the Special Abilities Bureau. This great enmity must be avenged. Li Fan looked at the students of the Special Abilities Bureau and loudly said to them, Today, you may feel grief or fear or despair, but remember, those who died are your friends, your classmates, and even your comrades. Don't let them die in vain. You must become the strongest Special Abilities Bureau agents. Remember this Long Qingyun. He is your enemy. The emotions of these students were stirred up, and they were destined to never forget this night. Director, there's a special communication signal. Susu came over and asked Bai Linluo for instructions. Okay, I'll go take a look. Bai Linluo called out to Li Fan, and the two went to the commander's office together. There was a mysterious signal coming in through the commander's communicator. Chapter 619. Chief, should I put it through? The correspondent asked Bai Linluo. Put it through. Bai Linluo really had the demeanor of a leader now. In any case, they were now on the move and were not afraid of being tracked by the other party. The Special Abilities Bureau, this is Dragonhead. A dull voice came from the communicator. Code SX 998852233. The other party's words suddenly made Susu excited. Dragonhead? It's Dragonhead. What the hell was Dragonhead? Li Fan froze for a moment. Dragonhead is the agent of the Special Abilities Bureau. Bai Linluo, who obviously knew something about the Special Abilities Bureau, lowered his voice and said to Li Fan, Let your chief speak. Dragonhead's voice carried a bit of noise, as if there was some interference. According to Bai Linluo, this Dragonhead was the agent of the Special Abilities Bureau and should be a big shot in the capital. I'm the chief. Bai Linluo walked over and began a conversation with this so-called Dragonhead. I won't say too much. The Special Abilities Bureau is in danger now. Dragonhead was concise and went straight to the point. Li Fan has caused too much of a stir in the Court of Trials. Now, all countries are going all out to kill mutants. Even I can't protect you. Long Qingyun has obtained the documents and can act first and report later. The Special Abilities Bureau has a lot of merits. Isn't this too much of a trifle? Bai Linluo frowned. So many people died in a groundless purge. It's been hard on you, but I can't help you. Now, even I'm being investigated. Dragonhead sighed. The situation has changed. In short, you should hide for a while. They hid and became a secret organization that no one knew about. Your batch number is still there, and so is your organization. However, you can't appear in front of outsiders, understand? You want us to hide? Yeah, Keep a low profile and bide your time. The Special Abilities Bureau is indispensable. You also need to find new mutants and protect them. The Special Abilities Bureau should already be a burden to you. Why do you still care so much? Bai Linluo could not help but ask. Maintain stability. The dragon head calmly said, China's policy has always been to maintain stability. Mutants were just a special race. Massacring them would only make the situation more unstable. But you are a symbol of power, and there are other countries behind you who are adding fuel to the fire. I can't protect you with my strength, and I can't help you. Bai Linluo lowered his voice. Then what do you want us to do? I've said it before. From the light to the dark. The dragon head's voice became even noisier. Then what do we live on? Extraordinary escort agency. After saying that, the signal was completely cut off. Li Fan had been listening at the side. When he heard this, he rolled his eyes. Damn it, this brainless dragon head actually threw the blame for the Special Abilities Bureau to me. The meaning of his words was obvious. He clearly wanted Primeval to make money to support the Special Abilities Bureau. Primeval had just gotten on the right track. Not only would they not get the remaining 1 million yuan, but they would also have to support the Special Abilities Bureau first. Damn it. I even lost Bai Linluo. What a bad deal. It's not worth it. It's really not worth it. Li Fan was a bit depressed. He had always claimed to be a profiteer, but in the end, it turned out to be like this. The loss was too big. Damn it. I'll never do business with the government again, Li Fan said and slapped himself. His face hurt, but his heart hurt even more. Prepare to leave the water. The pilot maneuvered the hidden dragon out of the water, leaped up, and rose into the air. Under the cover of the night, the amphibious ship quickly flew to Song River and plunged into the water again. The amphibious ship followed its original target and hid at the bottom of the river in City A. Relying on the survival system, the amphibious ship could hide for a long time. Li Fan and Bai Linluo had discussed it and decided to let the amphibious ship lurk for half a month first. In the near future, Long Qingyun would definitely be hunting them everywhere. Under River Song, temporarily hiding from the limelight was the best choice. Moreover, City A was their territory. Lu Xinnan's Red Dragon Society had already eradicated all the Vanguard Bureau and Yellow Clothes Group forces in one fell swoop and now controlled the entire underworld of City A. With the protection of Lu Xinnan's Red Dragon Society, Li Fan could let the Special Abilities Bureau hide with peace of mind. After settling them down, Li Fan hurried all the way home. Not knowing how long it had been since he went home, Li Fan went downstairs of his bungalow. The bungalow was still the same as before. It was 3 stories high and had lights on. The yard was very clean. Several bodyguards stood outside the yard. When they saw Li Fan, they immediately bowed in unison. Son-in-law. Li Fan greeted them and then returned to his home. It was clearly Mu Rongying's house, but at this moment, it felt like his own home. Li Fan felt that he might be a little too homesick recently. Although a man should be free to roam the world, it was also good to have a place to stay. It was a pity that the people from the Special Abilities Bureau, Li Xiaohu and Bai Linluo, could not return home for a while, nor could they contact their families. Thinking of that bastard Long Qingyun, Li Fan could not help but clench his fists. But he was just a clown who showed his face in public, and there was a bigger force behind him. If he did not uproot these forces, there was nothing he could do. A martial artist. This was the tragedy of a martial artist. In this world, there were many things that could not be solved with just fists. When Li Fan returned home, Mu Rongying was talking to a man. Mu Rongying was wearing a light blue cheongsam with daffodils printed on it. Her hair was in a bun, and she looked very elegant, like a fairy walking out of a painting. Sitting in front of her was a man in a black robe with curly hair. He was dressed in a standard martial arts outfit and carried a sword on his back. Looking at this appearance, Li Fan sighed in his heart. It seemed that he had not seen this kind of standard martial arts outfit for a long time. It's rare that you're willing to come back. When Murong saw Li Fan, her eyes lingered on him for a while. At that moment, there seemed to be something turning in Murong Ying's beautiful eyes. But in the blink of an eye, it disappeared. Wife, long time no see. Did you miss your husband? Li Fan chuckled, causing Murong Ying to roll her eyes. Who would miss you? Shameless. Murong Ying turned her head, seemingly not wanting to look at Li Fan. The man in the black robe sitting in front of Murong Ying hurriedly stood up, turned around, and bowed to Li Fan. Greetings, Chief Escort Li. Li Fan had established Fifan Escort Agency and held the position of Chief Escort, which was nothing new in the martial arts world. Sorry, buddy. My wife is a little tsundere. Li Fan's words caused Murong Ying to roll her eyes. May I know who you are? You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.